The bookings are back for May 16th, 2016. I'm Graham Jason Matthews, sitting alongside the returning for the first time in nearly 4 months at J-Nap's Ring Wrap, John Knapp. John, how you doing today, brother?
What's going on, Graham? How you doing? I'm doing well. I'm excited to be back on the show, where we thrive together. Let's get started. We got a lot of questions today.
Blockbuster back-to-back episodes. We had RJ last week, John this week. Next week, I'm back by myself, but this week we got our longest episode ever. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be great.
I'm excited.
You said longest episode ever?
We'll see. It probably will be, because I was telling you before we went live here that we got almost 5 pages worth of questions from you guys, from Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, which is the most amount of questions I think I've ever received. And I know some questions are longer than others, but I don't think I've ever received this many questions. And there's a perfect day for it with John joining us. And
we're starting early. We usually do this around 6:30.
And then it goes up like after Raw.
Sure. But it's 2:43 in the afternoon right now. Perfect.
Eastern time. But then we're going to, it should be up before Raw. People can watch it before Raw, after Raw, during Raw. If the show sucks, we'll
Next week, last week, whatever you want to do.
These shows are timeless. Third summer in a row.
Is it really?
We recorded our first episode in that awful episode of Raw, August 25th, 2014, right?
2014.
Shit, it's already 2016.
Yes.
It's crazy.
My God.
And at that point, it was only a dream that we were going to SummerSlam. We ended up going. No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Part 2 starts now. 98 days.
No Sleep Till Brooklyn. I cannot wait. And then, of course, summer 2017.
SummerSlam as well.
We'll be there too.
Can't wait. So we'll kick it off here. Before we begin, if you want to send in questions, you guys can tweet me on the Twitter at WrestleRant, Facebook at facebook.com/Graham.Jason.Matthews. Leave a comment in the post. I'll usually put up on Sunday nights or on the wall itself or right here on the video. I'll be sure to include your question in next week's edition. So we'll start it off with Blue Eye Disorder. Jason, my brother from work. He's great.
Okay.
Always enjoy his questions. His first one being, how do you think the Shane-Stephanie being in charge angle will end? Triple H possibly coming back and challenging Shane to a match at WrestleMania. John, you can kick it off.
Well, I think that this angle, it's interesting in that, Stephanie McMahon is playing a babyface, presumably just acting like she enjoys Shane McMahon's company as co-controller of Monday Night Raw. I think that everyone can see this is ultimately going to end up in a Shane versus Triple H match. I wasn't thinking WrestleMania. I was more thinking possibly SummerSlam.
Me too.
For Shane versus Triple H. I don't know if that's going to sell an uber amount of tickets. Hopefully, whatever happens, it just puts the authority to bed. We can just say goodbye to the authority, as this will now be the 3rd year of them being in power. So I would like to see, Triple H, Shane McMahon happen at SummerSlam, and then just kind of put this whole thing to bed. Start off the new era correctly with a babyface authority figure.
With the new era, with the new fresh face in charge. That is not
yes.
a McMahon for the first time in almost 2 decades. But no, I agree. I wasn't thinking WrestleMania either. I was thinking more SummerSlam. But I think I like the idea of Shane Triple H at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, that could be interesting. I don't know if it's going to sell out Barclays.
Oh, no. They need a bigger blockbuster card. But I feel like if that's one puzzle piece of a bigger card, maybe involving The Undertaker or Brock Lesnar's going to be there for sure, and maybe a few others as well. Maybe even the Great One, The Rock. Who knows? There's a lot of components that we have to take under consideration here. But I like the idea of the match, but like John said, I think the bottom line has to be getting rid of the authority. I mean, it's going to be 3 years from this SummerSlam that the authority debuted. At SummerSlam 2013.
3 years too long.
I was just about to say that.
3 years too long.
His second question, we get this a lot, but do you think Roman Reigns will turn heel anytime soon? I don't think so. I feel like I say this, it's like the new John Cena turning heel. I feel like there's a bigger chance of Roman turning at this point than Cena, of course.
Of course.
But I don't think it's going to be any point in the near future. I feel like Rollins will come back. They'll do that rematch at Battleground, maybe Money in the Bank or SummerSlam even. And it's going to be Rollins as the heel, Reigns as the babyface. Maybe they do a double turn. Who knows? That's what I would love to see. That's getting my hopes up a little bit. But I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. His question is ever. I'm sure it's going to happen at some point, but just not anytime soon.
The way I've now predicted a Roman Reigns heel turn incorrectly 5 times.
5 times?
On 5 different occasions, I've assumed that Roman Reigns is going to turn heel and has not. Most recently, at WrestleMania, I thought that The Rock was going to come out to assist Roman Reigns in the win against the Authority and then have Roman Reigns turn on him, setting up a match for SummerSlam, Roman Reigns versus The Rock. I was very wrong. So now, I mean, as much as I'm getting tired of just being wrong about Roman Reigns turning heel, I mean, the current angle he's in with the club, I think is
family
is a great time to do it. I mean, I'd love to see this have like a 6-man tag or something like that at Extreme Rules, or no, they're gonna do the whole AJ
Reigns,
Styles,
AJ again, yeah.
But just all I want to see is Roman Reigns reveal himself as the leader of the club, and then after that you have AJ call on Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. So AJ and 2/3 of the Shield versus Reigns and 2/3 of the Bullet Club.
Okay.
Going 1-0. That's what I would like to see.
I like it.
So I'd love to see Roman Reigns turn heel. I think it's very necessary at this point. But like you said, it's become the whole John Cena, will he, won't he turn heel?
When it happens, is what I like to say. So we'll see. But hopefully sooner rather than later. The first KFC, when was one-time 50-50 booking worked? Any ideas? I couldn't tell you. I'm just thinking the only time 50-50 booking worked, not like Rusev loses to Sin Cara on Raw, beats him on SmackDown. That's just the epitome of stupidity.
Yeah.
To me, 50-50 booking works when you have like a best of 3 series.
Okay.
Not like a 2 out of 3 count falls match, but like for SVR 07, like our booking, for example, we had Eddie versus Rock at Backlash. Eddie won.
Yep.
Vengeance, Rock won.
Yep.
And that's technically 50-50 booking. But it feels like it's not only predictable. I don't know.
But the difference is the third match, whoever wins comes out on top and then moves on. So it's ultimately not 50-50 booking because you're enhancing the stock of someone.
Okay. I see what you mean.
Because what happens in terms of the current landscape of WWE, 50-50 booking is, Tyler Breeze will pick up a win on Superstars, then he'll lose on Raw, then he'll lose on SmackDown, but he'll win on Main Event.
It's going 2 for 2.
So
yeah.
it's like...
No momentum is gained.
There's no way his stock can rise because he's ultimately just an average superstar.
Yeah, exactly.
And now the only time I can think it would work is if, in the case of, you're not trying to build a superstar, but you have 2 established stars going at it. That's the only time I think 50-50 could work. In the case of John Cena versus The Rock. Rock wins at Mania 28, Cena wins at Mania 29.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, of course, the match was awful at WrestleMania
29. Yeah. It shouldn't have happened that way, but yeah, it didn't hurt anybody.
And then of course, they had that, corny celebration on the stage.
They made out at the top of the stage, yeah.
I mean, I wish it didn't go down like that, but
Yeah.
it didn't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Cena's established, Rock is established, so that 50-50 doesn't hurt in that scenario. But when you're trying to build someone up, that's when it hurts.
Yeah, no, absolutely agreed. I feel like, especially now with Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler wins in the kickoff show at Payback. He beats him on Raw. Like, hopefully he gets the upper hand at Extreme Rules. I would hope so. It's just 50-50 booking is killing this roster. Was Apollo Crews brought up in the main roster too early? I've talked about this before, but absolutely. Especially now. I mean, when he first got brought up, I wanted to be hopeful, and it's only been a month. I'm not going to speak too soon here, but the guy's doing nothing. He's facing Stardust. He's facing the Social Outcast. He's not doing anything notable right now. I feel like he'd be better off in NXT, feuding with the NXT champion, or at least feuding with, I don't know, going heel or something. I have no idea, but I feel like there's still hope. He's not completely buried yet. I hate using that word, but... I don't know. I just think it was a little early.
I thought it was a tad too early too. I was actually entirely surprised when he was on the post WrestleMania show, Monday Night Raw. I was very surprised to see him, but I had a little bit of hope that they would do something. And unfortunately, it's not that he's being buried. It's just that they don't have anything for him.
Yeah.
They haven't progressed his character any, if at all, since we've met him.
Not really.
After Monday Night Raw, he's the same mysterious guy that we met back in April.
Yeah, just last month. Yeah.
So, what they need to do is just give him a story. Give him the microphone.
Character motivation, character development. Yeah.
There you go. That's all we need. But I think it was too early. I think he'd be so much like, imagine Apollo Crews versus Shinsuke Nakamura, NXT. Like, I'd love to see that.
Take my money.
Unfortunately, we got Apollo Crews versus Heath Slater. So
which is great too. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, and he just needs direction. I love what John said. Character development, I think, is key. Should the Vaudevillians win the tag team titles at Extreme Rules to get heat?
I don't know. That's a very good question because
not only should they win, but to get heat though. So that's the key of the question.
I mean, in a perfect world, that would happen because they're new guys and you have to establish them as a dominant tag team. Unfortunately, though, I think that they're just a feeder team to the New Day so that they can move on to face a new tag team, probably Gallows and Anderson at some point.
Enzo and Cass, hopefully, too.
Enzo and Cass, but I've never been on board the Vaudevillains bandwagon. I've never thought that they would realistically work out on the main roster. They've surprised me.
You told me right after they won the tag team titles in Brooklyn that you were never really on board. I wasn't either. I mean, I was happy to see them win the belts, but I was never really sold on the gimmick, and I know you weren't either.
Thus far, they've surprised me. I think they've been okay on the main roster. I think that they've been portrayed in a good light, and that I think they obviously work better as heels than they do as babyface.
Yep.
So time will tell how I feel about them. I don't think they're going to take the tag team titles away from the New Day Extreme Rules just because New Day is the biggest act in WWE. I mean, that's the highlight of every show, everywhere you go. But to get heat, it would make sense, but I doubt we'll see it.
I go back to Extreme Rules last year when, who was it?
Tyson Kidd.
Cesaro and Kidd lost the belts to the New Day. And that's how they kind of officially turned heel, and that's how they got heat. So I can kind of see them doing something similar with the Vaudevillians because no one's expecting it. No one thought the New Day was going to win, and they did. Yeah. So I know we all thought they were a filler team for Cesaro and Kidd. So who knows? But I'm still going with New Day. I still feel like that the money match, like John said, is with Gallows and Anderson or Enzo and Cass. Hopefully it's SummerSlam in Brooklyn or have you. But I just think it's not even too soon because they've been champions for like fucking 9 months at this point. So it's not even too soon. But too soon for the Vaudevillains, I think. Yeah. I feel like at some point they might be tag team champions, but I just don't really need to see them as champions right now, especially in the division loaded with as much talent as they have right now.
Sure.
The Usos, Gallows and Anderson, Enzo and Cass, whatever, Dudley Boyz. Yep. Is Colin Cassidy getting pushed too soon?
I wouldn't define this as a push. I mean, unfortunately, circumstances have it is that Enzo Amore was put out of action, taken out of action by the Vaudevillains. And so I don't think that this is necessarily a push. It's more of a, hey, we had big things for you coming up. Unfortunately, your tag team partner got injured, so this is what we're going to do with you for now. I think that once Enzo gets back, he'll be right back to where things were, tearing up in the tag team ranks. I do think, and I said this when they debuted the night after WrestleMania, I do think Colin Cassidy will be a huge single star someday.
You think so?
I think he'll be great, because I think he has that it factor. I think he has the intangible. I don't think he's getting pushed right now, though. They're just compensating for the fact that they were going to be one of the most over acts on the roster. And now that half of that act is gone, they're saying, "Hey, we're sorry, buddy. We know we had big plans for you, but here you go. You can have a match. You can have a main event spot tonight." Where, of course, that match with Chris Jericho 2 weeks ago didn't actually happen.
It was bait and switch, yeah. Still,
but I mean, that light was on him, and that gave him a little more stock, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
The fact that they were willing to do that, and he seems like he could be a main event kind of guy at some point. I mean, he's still very young. So there's a lot of maturing to do in the ring, but I think that he can be a big level single star someday.
I think at some point, I think he has potential. I feel like I don't want to say he's going to be a big single star like a la Test. He reminds me a lot of Test. I feel like he could be a mid-card guy, a good solid mid-card guy at some point, but I feel like just, especially right now, him and Cass are just better together, or rather him and Enzo are better together. Obviously, they can't do that right now because, Enzo's injured, but is it getting pushed too soon? Like you said, I wouldn't even really define it as a push. I mean, it's not like he was thrust into the world title picture at the next pay-per-view because Enzo got hurt or whatever. He doesn't even have a match in the pay-per-view as of right now. So, I mean, I wouldn't even really define it as a push. Kind of testing the waters for a future push down the line, which I think is cool. And a refreshing change of pace to kick off the show with him and Jericho than the Authority or the McMahons for the millionth time. Emmanuel A. from YouTube, with Joe and Balor 4 happening in the next TakeOver, do you think that the Demon should get a bigger storyline focus? If my memory is correct, Finn Balor is 7-0 at TakeOvers, but aside from the 2 Dusty Rhodes tag team matches at Respect, he's always been the Demon. I think at some point, should someone challenge Finn to a major big-time match without resorting to the Demon form, and a 4th Samoa Joe match seems like the perfect time to do it. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Right after Balor lost the belt at Lowell to Samoa Joe, I was thinking to myself, he wasn't the Demon tonight. He beat Joe at the last 2 TakeOvers in London and Dallas as the Demon. Okay. Joe can't beat the Demon, but he can beat Balor. So that really hasn't been a focus. I know we have a little less than a month, so they only have maybe 3 episodes left to kind of talk about that. And I know a stipulation for the match is being announced tomorrow. So maybe it's like he can't be the Demon. I have no idea. It's probably going to be like a no holds barred or something. Yeah. We'll find out tomorrow on Facebook, I think it was. But, yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, like you said, Balor is 7-0 at the TakeOvers, which is amazing. They haven't really touched upon that. They should. Especially this might be Balor's last TakeOver. So doing the honors for Joe on the way out, I think, is the best way for him to kind of say final farewell to NXT. So, yeah, absolutely, that should be a bigger storyline focus for Finn Balor.
That's actually a very interesting pitch you just threw at us. I think that is the product of actual, creative thought and, good writing.
Which NXT does have.
NXT does have, but, I mean, that's something that I wouldn't put past NXT. But that's just very intricate. Like, I mean, I would hire you as a writer right now. I would have never even thought about that. But, no, it's a very interesting point. I think that could, be touched upon or should be touched upon. Now, you said you think this could be Balor's last TakeOver.
Could be.
Now, I am under the opinion that he'll be there for a little longer.
You think he might be there until at least the Brooklyn special?
I'm saying night after SummerSlam would be...
To bring him up?
To bring him up would be the perfect night. Because, I mean,
this is what I think. I'm thinking Owens here. Owens fight. I'm thinking who debuted 1 year ago this week, or 1 year ago this week, this upcoming Wednesday, which I was here for, by the way. I was marking out. John took a video of me marking out. I remember that. It was amazing. I gotta watch it back on the network before we watch Raw tonight. But anyway, so he was on the main roster he was NXT champion for like 2 months before he finally dropped it and he was on the main roster. So,
but the thing is, how much talent can you raid from NXT before it becomes apparent that they can't sell a show
with their own stars?
With their own stars.
I agree with that, but at the same time, Vince did say at the conference call last week that they're in the process of calling up more stars right now than ever before.
Okay,
that's why like Dana Brooke showed up, and
that was very interesting to see.
But I do agree with you though.
How interesting would an angle be where, and this could even go into the Triple H Shane feud that we were talking about earlier. Triple H comes back and says, "Hey, like you're taking all of my talent from NXT."
Okay. You do a little double turn. Yeah, it's gonna have to be a double turn.
You can't keep taking my talent. And then
just baby.
I think that would be interesting to see.
That would be pretty. I like that idea. I've heard that before, not exactly in that context, but I like.
I'm building these stars and you're taking them.
Yeah.
No. And then like you get into the inevitable NXT versus main roster. That.
Which we've talked about before, and I just feel like they would just. I hate to use this word, but bury the NXT guys. It's like, oh, you're developmental. You're not better. You're not better than the main roster guys. You're just developmental. Yeah. You're rookies.
That could even be the premise of a Survivor Series match.
If done right, I think it could work. If done right,
NXT versus main roster.
Yeah, I think it could work. We got some time though. It's only May. But his next question: how would you rank the personal importance of the following elements of a wrestling show? Crowd activity, production values, commentary, historical value, execution of finishes, and match quality itself. So this was mine, from least important to most important. Historical value, which I am a huge sucker for, obviously, is not important at all. I know I make a big deal about it, but it's not really all that important in comparison to the other stuff. Commentary makes a big difference, but you could have a shitty commentary team in an amazing match, but not saying that's ideal, but execution of finish, I think, comes next. Production values is huge. You get a bad camera angle and you miss a finish or a move or something that's vital to the match, the whole match is fucked. Match quality, I think, is big, but I think more so than anything else, it has to be the most important, crowd activity. Okay. I feel like you could have an amazing match, but if that crowd is setting their hands the entire time, I'm not going to enjoy it. The wrestlers are going to be pissed. Everyone. It's a lose-lose. No one's going to care. So I think crowd activity is easily the most important thing for me. So what would be your ranking?
This is my first time seeing the question, so bear with me.
And there's a couple different components.
But off the top of my head, I would say that in order to get the crowd active, in order to get them from a quiet to a rambunctious crowd, you have to have a good match. So I'd say match quality ranks number one, followed by crowd activity. I would even I'd keep production values at where they are because, like you said, the camera angles are very important.
Very underrated too.
So even like making sure sound is good and everything makes the perception of a show better. I'd actually finish off with the way that you kept it: execution of finish, commentary, historical value. But I think just my biggest one is switching crowd activity and match quality, because the quality of a match should incite a crowd to become alive, to become active, to become electric. The crowd shouldn't make the match. I think the match should make the crowd.
The one match that came to mind when I was thinking of that, I was going back and forth on where to rank that. Hogan Rock from WrestleMania 18. You turn the volume off, the match is probably not as good as it would be without the crowd. I think the crowd made the match for that. Or do you think
But it wasn't. But it was Rock Hogan. Okay. So that the quality of the match is already in the.
We're not just talking about like in ring wise. We're talking about like storytelling and everything. Okay,
to the match quality, like the road to the match is involved in the match quality. So if that match was Steven Richards versus Goldust at WrestleMania 18, the crowd would have been dead, like you said. But because it was Rock Hogan,
true, it had that aura about it. Yeah.
So I think I'd keep match, but I see where you're coming from. Because from a fan's point of view, if you're watching home at TV, the greatest match in the world could be on, but if the crowd is silent, and it's like, well, it was a okay match.
Yeah.
But I think that the match has to have certain elements and certain factors that makes the crowd come alive.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's interchangeable, but I think we can definitely agree that those two are easily the most important components of all the ones that you mentioned. This question's for you. How well do you remember 2006 in WWE? I know your friend John, right here, credits the Foley-Edge feud as his gateway storyline for getting into wrestling. It was my first full year as a fan, though through retrospective, it's a bit of a weird time between the DX reunion, the ECW revival, and things like the live sex celebration segment. It seems like WWE was really trying to replicate the tone of the Attitude Era for better or for worse. So, John, this is all yours.
Alrighty. Well,
10 years, by the way. Celebrating 10 years.
Yes. I became a fan of WWE in April 2006. And so, obviously, I didn't have that kind of, rear view mirror where I could see what 2005, 2004, 2003 was like. But the whole Ruthless Aggression era had the attitudinal tones of the Attitude Era. So I think it was just in a weird transition area where they were going from live sex celebrations to Cena wins, LOL.
Yeah.
And so it was just a lot of weird taste in everyone's mouth. DX Reunion, ECW Revival. It was just, for me, it's a landmark year. For others, it's a forgettable year. But I mean, I remember 2006 very well. I mean, as a fan, my favorite rivalry of all time occurred that year in Edge versus John Cena. I just spoiled the thesis of one of my articles, but you heard it here first. Yeah, I mean, 2006 will always live on in my heart as my favorite year to be a pro wrestling fan. Or, excuse me, as my second. I'm just spoiling articles.
You're spoiling articles.
Spoiling articles.
Spoiler alert. I gotta edit that part out.
Yes, we have to. No, but 2006 was a great year, and I wish Graham got to experience. I wish he was alongside me so we could have this back and forth about the year. But
yeah, I only have the network basically, and they need to add more Raws from 2006. They're in the process of adding more Raws currently from. Episodes of Raw from 2005, which I think is great because I love 05. Hopefully 06 at some point too.
But there are aspects of that year that are just like Jeff Hardy's return.
Yeah, they didn't talk about
Jeff Hardy's return. The Cena Edge Unforgiven match, which is ranked like as one of the best matches of all time.
DX Reunion they mentioned.
DX Reunion, which a lot
Rated
of people,
RKO.
which a lot of people did not enjoy. Having that rearview mirror, looking at 1997, looking at 1998.
It's better than 09.
Well, yes, but for me, that was the greatest thing in the world. Seeing like the slapstick comedy of Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Like, I'd never seen anything like that, so I thought that was, as a 9-year-old kid, that was awesome.
Yeah, no, I think the year overall, I think it might be underrated. It's interesting that this question came up. Well, first of all, because I'm talking to you today. But I also, right before I got here for Wrestle Rants, coming up in the next couple weeks, I reviewed Vengeance 06, which is the perfect pay-per-view to watch, and talking about this question. Because on that show,
what was the main event of Vengeance 06?
DX versus Spirit Squad. The main event. I was like, really? And again, I talked about it in the video. I think it's a good year, but I think that pay-per-view is not a good representation. It's like Foley and Ric Flair didn't have a good match. They had a great match at SummerSlam. The Vengeance match wasn't good. The ECW Revival, they kind of cut that short a little too early. It was like Cena squashing Sabu in like 6 minutes. RVD and Edge had a great match. RVD's rise to prominence that year was also a highlight of 2006.
I'd say if you're going to look at pay-per-views from 2006 that really defined the year, SummerSlam was amazing.
Also, Rey Mysterio winning at WrestleMania, so probably
WrestleMania was one of the better pay-per-views. Unforgiven. Really a great
show. That was
amazing
in Canada,
Unforgiven in the Skydome? No, in the Toronto. In Toronto! I don't know where. I'm not from Canada.
We're somewhere up north, somewhere in the Great North. But no, I think the pay-per-view, you got to watch like certain pay-per-views. But I agree. I'm the exact same way. 2008 for me, it's like a forgettable year for most people. But for me, it's like the greatest year. But anyway, moving on here to Captain Sunshine. First question. I feel bad for Zack Ryder as WrestleMania IC title win all stemmed from the plague of injuries on the roster. So where will that leave him when everyone comes back? His Raw appearances are a bit more regular now, but what happens when the Nevilles, to the Wyatts, to the Ortons have all returned? What then? So I was thinking about this question. I feel kind of bad for Zack too. And I think the IC title win, I just read this somewhere. Apparently someone ran into his brother. Like it's some basketball game. This is no credible source. And apparently this guy was telling these fans that the only reason Ryder won at WrestleMania, and the original plan was to have KO retain, was because every wrestler involved in that match petitioned for Ryder to win.
Really?
To get his WrestleMania moment, which explains why he lost the next night on Raw. So I was completely fine with that. He got his moment. I'm okay with that. He's been getting more TV time. Like you said, he was on Raw and SmackDown this past week. Or Raw and Raw, whatever.
Interesting.
But no, I would just say just one last thing. I would just say this. That with Zack Ryder, the thing is that if the entire roster is depleted, it's hard to say. Like, he's getting this chance because everyone is hurt. I think if you really want a good, how do I put this? Like, if you really want a good indication of how big of a star he can be, he needs to rise to prominence the same way he is doing right now when everyone is back.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like in 2011, that was when he was really over. It's like, okay, he can win the WWE Championship, that's great, but what does it really mean if there's no one around for him to challenge? Like, if everyone's gone, okay, it's like the entire roster got fired except for Zack Ryder, and Zack Ryder won the World Championship. Would it really mean anything because no one's there to do it?
Essentially like Drew Galloway winning the TNA Championship now.
That's kind of it!
Compared to him winning the TNA Championship like in 2006 or something like that.
Thank you, John. That is exactly the point I'm trying to make. I love Zack Ryder, but that was just my mindset when reading this question.
And I must say real quick, Drew Galloway is killing it.
EC3 too.
I really enjoy Drew Galloway. Zack Ryder, through his more regular appearances on Monday Night Raw, I've really started to get behind him, and just the fact that he kind of looks like more of a star to me. I think that if he can kind of put the hokiness behind him, I mean, I know everyone loves the woo.
Yeah.
But I think that if you just have him as more of a, not a bland, but just a more tempered, hungry challenger, babyface-esque kind of superstar, he can really get over. Because to me, he looks like a star. He has the physique. He can talk. I get the sense that he could be a big singles competitor in the future. But unfortunately, people were saying that in 2011.
Yeah, true.
Now it's 2016.
5 years later. Yeah.
This begs another question. If everyone wasn't injured, let's say the roster was in the current a healthy state, would Zack Ryder have been one of the names to go when they did those releases?
That's a great question. It's very likely. It's very likely. I don't know.
But otherwise, I enjoyed his win at WrestleMania. I thought that set the tone for what was, in my opinion, not a great show. But it started off
Surprise-mania.
It started off hot, very surprising. And I was happy that a lot of people were angry, but I was happy that.
I think that it was a mixed reaction.
I was happy that it happened, and honestly, I was kind of looking forward to a Zack Ryder IC title run, which unfortunately was squashed the next night. But I think that when all these superstars return from injury, it'll be very interesting to see what they do with Zack Ryder.
I mean, like you said, I feel like just having him become more serious. He had this great interview a couple weeks ago, or right after Mania with Michael Cole, talking about how he overcame cancer in high school, and his whole story that you never really hear, because we never hear him from at all on Raw. He never gets my time.
That would be a great angle to delve into.
That's an awesome crux to his character that they could use.
Who can boo someone who survived cancer?
Exactly. We already like him as it is. So kind of adding that extra element, not like a sympathy thing, but just.
But he's a survivor. He's a fighter.
Exactly. That's a part of his character.
He doesn't quit.
He's the ultimate underdog, which is what I love about his character right now. Just kind of adding that to his thing, to his current on-air persona. So next question: what's up with the champions losing on Raw? We had the women's Intercontinental and Tag Team champions losing within half of the 3-hour show last week. I know that's how the WWE likes to do it, even in this new era. But wouldn't you space these things out instead of using the same booking trope multiple times in the same show? Yes, it was a little bit bothersome, and champs are chumps, as Solomon Monster likes to say. It's really true. I mean, you can't have champions lose all in one show, and I just thought it was kind of ridiculous. I think, like you said, not only just having the champions lose, but also the distraction roll-ups, the non-finishes, having champions lose. That's stuff that we've been seeing for years. So how is it really a new era if they're relying on the same shit? And I feel like Monday's episode wasn't a great example just because it all happened on one night. And in past weeks, that has not been the case. I don't know why they saved it all for one show, but I think they just got lazy. But that's my 2 cents.
It's become very tired because if you're going to treat champions like everyone else, you shouldn't have champions. Just win.
What does it mean?
Just fight for, honor, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
that's Ring of Honor.
There you go. So yeah,
WWE, damn it.
That's been one of my main complaints for the product for quite some time now. Just how champions they've really fallen from grace in that kind of sense.
Yeah.
Being the champion means you should be the best superstar in your division.
Yep.
In your mid-card, upper card, lower card division, you should be the best. And when you are beat, it should lead ultimately to a championship match between the person who beat you. It's very just easy, basic kind of booking and everything. But like you said, the distraction roll-ups, the lights going, things like that. It's very, I'd say, passive. People want just a real texture to their wrestling now. I mean, obviously, wrestling is wrestling, but people want that taste of realism, and that. Let's use some logic here. All right, if it's champions should fight and be treated like champions.
Yeah, I think this was kind of bothersome. This was one night, but I think it was last fall when Rollins was champion. I think he went on a losing streak for fucking 2 months. The guy's world champion. Yeah. He's losing every match he's involved in. How is that a world champion? That makes no sense. That's what came to mind when I read your question. But anyway, moving on. Okay, credit where credit is due. Paige beating Charlotte on Raw was actually well done. I see and feel a lot of the issues thrown against Paige, but she's had 3 years of a major role in WWE's Divas Revolution, or whatever the hell they want to call it, which should necessitate, a decent place for her in this new era. Does Paige deserve a place in the new era? John?
Absolutely. I think one of the things I actually thought about when Dana Brooke debuted on Monday Night Raw, and is now feuding with Becky Lynch, is that they're actually getting more than one story going on in the women's division.
Yeah.
I have Charlotte and Natalya. I still believe are doing battle, and now you have Becky Lynch and Dana Brooke and Emma doing their own thing, which is crucial to enhancing the perception of the women. How you can't just have just the champion and the challenger going to fight, and that's all we got for the women. Like you need to intertwine more stories.
They have a big enough roster where they could do that.
Yeah. And of course, last year we were asking should the women have tag team championships? Should they have a mid-card championship? Yeah. I mean, obviously the roster has increased a little bit, but they still need to get that investment. There still needs to be more of an investment in the women that I don't think there is presently right now. But I think that if they start to get more storylines involved other than just champion versus challenger, Paige could have a very prominent role. Unfortunately, Paige's situation is she became a 3-time women's champion in like the first year.
That's the issue. Yeah.
So and in a division that is basically once you're champion, there's no like Cena versus Rock. No, era versus era. There's no era versus era women's match. So unfortunately, like the pinnacle of the women's division is you're the champion. All right, now how many times can you become the champion?
Look at Alicia Fox. She won the belt 6 years ago. She's still here.
Yeah. So that's the pinnacle of her division. Unfortunately, Paige reached that on more than one occasion very early in her career.
Yeah.
So now she's kind of dealing with the post-mortem, the rebound of being a 3-time women's champion or Divas champion, however many times she is. So she has to find that role where she can thrive, and that isn't just being a champion or not being a champion.
Yeah, she peaked way too early. I feel like she definitely does have a place in this new era. They just got to give her character motivation. And not only winning the title so many times and whatever, just kind of overexposing is the right word to describe Paige. She feels like the Usos of the Divas division. She's been after the title so many times. But I feel like, for one thing, to describe Paige and how long, not only, like I said, not only being in the title picture multiple times, or just so much, she's turned heel and face like back and forth without explanation like so many times, and no one cares anymore. Yeah. She comes out. I mean, she had a good match against Charlotte last week. Like you said, it was really well done. The finish, and that was good. But they got to get her more character motivation. I think one way to do it, and I think, I don't know, maybe someone asked it or I pitched it or something in one of these videos, I think bringing her back to NXT, even for a little while, like for a feud with Asuka, and she dominates some women, and that builds up to a match with Asuka for the Women's Championship, and she puts her over before going back to the main roster, I feel like would be great to kind of resurrect her character.
Something to do. I mean,
exactly. She could be like the women version of Cesaro and Tyson Kidd.
Sure. Other than just chasing, defending.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be more layers to your motivation. You can't, if you're just in a division that's only focused on winning a championship, you have to start creating different outlets, different motivations, different reasons for being there.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, hopefully, like I said, she's like, what, 24 this month, I think?
She's very young.
Turning 24 pretty soon, so she's pretty young. She's got her whole career ahead of her. She's great. They just got to get book her.
And let me just say, this isn't solely a woman's thing. This isn't because they're women. If the men only had one championship to vie for, you'd see the same things happening with people getting so sour early on in their career because they've already won the championship and now there's nothing else for them to do.
I think
so. It's not just a woman's thing.
It's like with NXT a little bit. Just the only difference is that once you win the championship, you have something to look forward to and getting called up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they don't. The first ever, and look at all the NXT champions from early on: Seth Rollins, Big E, Bo Dallas, Neville, Sami Zayn. They're all on the main roster. Kevin Owens. They didn't stick around going back after the belt. They did for a little while, but they're not still there.
Yeah.
Floundering without anything else to do.
Yeah.
So you make a great point. I've been liking the Styles-Reigns feud a lot lately. AJ Styles has been getting some deeper character development and introducing past relationships and newer alliances, or newer audiences rather, while Roman Reigns gets to live outside a raging against the authority context. It's something that benefits two guys who are differently good at wrestling in ways that complement them. Best thing that could happen to them, or what's the best thing that could happen to them? So I don't really know what you're asking. You know what this is asking, or?
Well, I agree. I'm gonna first off just pick things that I agree with.
Okay.
I really enjoy that Roman Reigns is no longer raging against authority. I think that's a problem they have every time they want to build someone. Oh, we'll just pit him against the authority, and they'll get over like that. So that's very, very refreshing to see that he's actually has different motivation other than sticking it to the authority. The best thing that can happen to both AJ Styles and Roman Reigns is that they put on a good program. The best thing that can happen to Roman Reigns is that he defies all the naysayers who say like he's not WWE Championship material, and he has like the match of a lifetime with AJ. I mean, I thought their match at Payback was. I thought that was a very
really
good match.
Very good match.
Maybe overbooked, But as far as matches go, I enjoyed it. So I think that the best thing Roman Reigns can do is defy all the naysayers and become WWE Championship material. I think that he's definitely on his way. I agree. I've enjoyed this program immensely. I think that AJ Styles is really that kind of name that can add interest to Roman Reigns. Because if you put in Roman Reigns up against The Miz after WrestleMania, we still hate Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
But AJ Styles is kind of that enigma, that entity that you put him with and automatically there's interest in whatever Roman Reigns is doing. And that's just how I felt over the past couple weeks. Best thing that can happen to AJ Styles is that he becomes the WWE champion, and I'm really hoping for that.
I agree. Could not say it any better myself, and I feel like that's kind of my intro too. I'll just kind of steal John's answer so we can move along here. So Tyler Breeze and Fandango are apparently a new team, judging by SmackDown, and honestly, I'm way more excited about it than I should be. Breeze and Fandango are talented, but have been neutered upsides in the have neutered upsides, and the Golden Truth storyline is what it is. If anything, this lets everyone move forward. Is that so much to ask? Once in a while, some forward progress. I'm with you. I like the tag team a lot, but I feel like I really shouldn't because I feel like the end game is just for them to job out to Golden Truth. So I'm not going to get my hopes up. I know it came 3 years too late. I remember very vividly someone asking me a question right here on this very video, right when hashtag first started, like episode 2 or 3. Should Tyler really? I'm going to go back and watch it. It was a while ago. Summer of 2013, should Tyler Breeze, right after he debuted, team up with Fandango when he was still hot? And I said, that'd be cool. Yeah. 3 years later, they fucking mean nothing. Nobody gives a shit. I mean, Tyler Breeze is great. Fandango means even less. Yeah. But, you know what's something for him to do? I cannot complain. Breeze has been fucking wasted since coming to Raw and SmackDown. So this is a good way to get him on TV. Fandango, don't care. I care more about Breeze in this whole thing, and they have decent chemistry. I'm more excited about these guys being paired together than Golden Truth. I'll say that much.
Oh, sure. I think that the way that Tyler Breeze has been treated as of late, he would thrive a lot better if he went back down to NXT for a little bit.
Absolutely.
I just think that clearly with all the drama that happened late last year with him getting heat in the locker room or whatever, and this is apparently the product of that said heat, him just being totally demolished on the main roster. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate to see because he is so talented. Fandango, I really haven't cared for throughout his entire repackaging. Like, at this point, bring Johnny Curtis back.
I don't think I've ever really cared about him, period.
No. So it's interesting to see them together. I was very curious as to why they were getting so much TV time. I mean, this angle was on Monday Night Raw.
This has been going for like 5 months. So this has roots back to fucking February. Yeah. This whole angle's been going back for.
So it's interesting to see. I mean, I'm glad you're excited about it. I wish more people were excited about everything that happened. Unfortunately, everyone is so pessimistic.
So cynical.
Everyone hates WWE. But yeah, some forward progress. Sure, it's a new era, right?
It's a new era. Yeah, we'll just give some people new opportunities. We'll say that. We'll see where it goes. Time will tell. I hate to say that. I hate to use that old excuse, but it's true for this case. Frankishire 15 from YouTube. Package release and push. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Finn Balor. I said push Balor because he's going to be a money star regardless. Mm-hmm. All three of these guys are. But I feel like he's the one. He's like the new Jeff Hardy. Yeah. So I'm going to push Balor. Owens and Zayn are really interchangeable. So I said repackage Owens. Really nothing to repackage about him. What, turn him face or something? I don't know. And release Zayn. Again, it really doesn't matter either way because I feel like both guys are going to have that equal amount of success in WWE. But I feel like Owens could be a bigger time player than Sami Zayn. So I said push Balor, repackage Owens, release Zayn.
I would go push Owens, repackage Balor, release Zayn.
Okay. I think just interchange those stuff.
Yeah, because I think Balor is such a boring babyface. Thank you for this opportunity. that was my best Irish impression. I think Owens should be a main eventer like last year. Like that's how badly I think he's been treated.
Balor or Owens?
Owens should be.
Owens, okay.
Owens should be a main eventer like last year.
That's how, yesterday.
Yeah, that's how badly I think he's been treated in all this. Sami Zayn, I love him to death, but of the three, I think I don't know. Just Balor's a money star, and I think Owens should be a money star.
Yeah.
And Sami Zayn is also a money star.
They're all money. That's why these questions are so hard because they're all interchangeable, and there's really no right answer. Thomas B. from Facebook, moving into Facebook questions here. Do you think WWE should have 12 pay-per-views as opposed to, I'm sure, 13 or whatever they have now? Yeah, they should. I mean, I think less is more. I don't think they will do that. They have contracts with pay-per-view companies, and they have the network now, and now they're going to have more fucking specials. They had the Elimination Chamber special out of nowhere last year. And we had like 3 pay-per-views in the course of like a month last year. We had Chamber, we had Payback, and we had Money in the Bank. It was ridiculous. But yeah, I think less is more. 12 is better than 13. I would even go down to 8, but I know that's not in the cards. So, but yeah, I would take 12 over 13 any day.
I agree.
That's it.
Less is more. You know, I mean, what was the year where they had the 13 paper? Was that 2006? They had like a million pay-per-views.
Yeah, I mean, especially when they had like Raw and SmackDown and ECW shows. It was probably 06.
Yeah.
It's probably 06.
And it just it gets to the point where, you know, this is the age-old adage, you know, each Monday Night Raw is a chapter in a book, and each pay-per-view is like the end of a book, and then you put 3 books together, and it's a saga, and that's what you...
Yeah.
When you have, like, only 2 chapters, and then the end of a book, and then, like, 1 chapter, and the end of a book, it's like, well, the story is hurting because you're finishing books so frequently. Now imagine if you had, like, 8 chapters leading to the end of the book. Like,
SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. Who said that?
There you go.
We know.
The book would be a lot more interesting to read.
Yeah, exactly. Could not have said better myself. His next question, are the Bullet Club being booked poorly? John?
Absolutely not. I'm interested in them. Why? How could they be being booked poorly if they're my favorite part of Monday Night Raw?
I will say this much.
What's up?
I'm not saying they are being booked. That was good. That was impressive. Now, we got that on camera, too.
Awesome.
I'm not going to say they're being booked to look weak. I'm saying I will say they are being booked a bit weakly. If that makes any difference at all or any sense whatsoever.
They could be being booked better.
Yes. Gallows and Anderson specifically. I think Styles is fine regardless. The guy's a star. Anderson and Gallows just came up. They cannot be booked to look like every other tag team out there. They cannot be booked to look like the equals to the Usos. They need to be booked to look like they're dominant. You know what I mean? At least right now.
I agree.
They've only been here for less than a month, and they already feel like, because I'm excited to see him, but I feel like Roman Reigns, the whole elimination stipulation last week, and Roman Reigns, you know, doing away with him so easily, was like, why? You know, they should be booked to look dominant, at least right now. So they could be booked better. They're not being booked poorly, but they could be booked better, like you said.
I just, my measurement is, am I interested?
Okay.
As a fan, am I interested? And I still am. I'll give them time because they'll probably uninterest me in a little bit with the way that WWE is.
And it's not even being, you know, negative. That's being realistic.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works with this company. So you got to look at it realistically. Mark S. has got a couple questions here. First one being, considering anything can happen in the Extreme Rules match between Roman Reigns and AJ Styles at Extreme Rules, what do you think would be a tremendous finish to the encounter? I mean, whatever it is, I don't know, but Styles can't lose clean again. It's got to be some big reveal, like, oh, Balor comes up and costs AJ the match, or I don't know, Gallows and Anderson cost AJ the match, something along those lines. I'm not going to say tremendous finish as in he spears him off the top of the Titantron or something. I mean, that would be cool. But I'm talking about in terms of booking, I don't want Styles. I don't think he will win. I mean, best case scenario wins. But I'm talking about if Reigns wins, it should be with help from Gallows and Anderson or Finn Balor or something along those lines.
I agree. I think that, there's definitely going to be shenanigans involved in this match. It's just, it has that written all over it. So I doubt we'll see a clean finish of any kind, of any shape or color. Like I said earlier, I'd love to see Roman Reigns reveal himself as the leader of the club. I doubt that's going to happen because I've just been so wrong so frequently these days.
You want that to happen? It's not going to happen.
Exactly. So I'm just
Don't book it.
I'm just going to say I want Stardust to come out and kiss Roman Reigns on the lips, and hopefully that won't happen.
It's gonna happen. Man. Just watch. You said you want Stardust to kiss Roman Reigns. It's gonna happen. But actually, book it.
That's family. But yeah, it's definitely gonna be it's gonna be a dirty finish, and it's gonna be fun to watch. More importantly, it's gonna be very fun to watch.
It's gonna be a great match. It's gonna be very entertaining to say the least. What do you think Kalisto, Alberto Del Rio, Sin Cara, Primo, and Epico would have success in Lucha Underground if they left WWE? And have you ever thought of any WWE superstar that would be a really good fit for Lucha Underground? ADR was already there. Del Rio was there last year, and I thought it was the most interested I've ever been in Del Rio. I never gave a crap. I mean, I gave a crap about him for a while in 2011 when he was being booked properly. But after he tapped out to Cena, lost the belt, haven't given a shit about him since.
Nope.
And they had a chance when they brought him back, and he beat Cena in like 5 minutes. Like, oh, wow, that's cool. And then he was booked to look like just an average jabroni. So anyway, I feel like going back to Lucha, I don't think that's in the cards. I think he might have left on bad terms. It's not happening, but it would be amazing. All the other guys, I mean, Sin Cara, I don't really care about Sin Cara. I mean, maybe Mystico.
Hunico or Mystico are we talking about?
Mystico, I think would be cool. Hunico, I don't really care about. The Sin Cara character obviously wouldn't be Sin Cara anyway. Primo and Epico, maybe. I feel like they would just, if they ever left WWE, they would just go to their father's promotion, the WWEC or whatever the hell it is in Puerto Rico. Kalisto would be amazing. I mean, they already have someone kind of like him in Phoenix. In terms of current guys in the roster, that would be good in Lucha. Other than Del Rio, I'm trying to think of guys. I feel like a Zack Ryder would get over there greatly. I don't know why. I know Justin Gabriel's there right now, and he's fucking ripping it up. I don't know. I feel like I'm sure there's a couple guys that would come to mind, but right now I'm not really sure. But all those guys that you mentioned would do pretty well there.
Well, unfortunately, I don't watch Lucha Underground. I don't have access to LA. But
anyone from the current roster?
Anyone that I could see, working out down there, no, because I don't know what that landscape is like.
Any Lucha Libre guys? Not even that, because I guess, Ezekiel Jackson was there. It's like that's the last person I would expect.
I have an interesting counter to the question, and that I think Kalisto is garbage. I think Kalisto.
Okay, see you later, guys.
No.
What?
The past 2 weeks of him on commentary, I wanted to load
I saw
the
your
closest
tweet.
firearm.
Saw your tweet.
Oh my god, I wanted to crucify
Was
myself.
it Salamonster that tweeted it? He was like, Kalisto, he said something about it too. Someone tweeted about it. He goes, Kalisto said on commentary, I didn't hear it, but I saw people talking about it. He said, my partner and Sin Cara and I, we are tag team friends, or something like that. He said, what did he say? It was so funny too. It was so fucking stupid. He said, my partner, we are a tag team. It's like, are you serious? It's like
the worst thing I heard him say was, he started out, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the strongest, I am the fastest. And then he was going on later, I will beat him because I'm bigger, I'm stronger. And then he's like, oh no, like I was like, I wanted to, like, that is just
it's
awful.
cringeworthy.
Like, if you understand that he's not a good talker, then don't let him talk.
Yeah.
Because his moves speak for himself.
Yeah, and he was put on SmackDown again last week too.
Oh, it was just so bad, and I feel that like, how could you even rely on someone to talk like that if that is the product they're gonna put out there?
Yeah. Russo should be on commentary over Kalisto. He's a great guy. He's hilarious. If you watched his sit-down interview with Michael Cole, it's hilarious.
I didn't see it.
Well recommended. Well worth checking out. But anyway, no, I have to agree though.
So I'm sorry for copping out of that question. I don't watch Lucha Underground, unfortunately, so I can't really answer.
But still a good counter to that. Do you think anything outside of the box will happen in the Extreme Rules match between Natalya and Charlotte for the women's title? I hope. I mean, maybe. Depends what you say out of the box. Because if you say out of the box and you're alluding to like the Montreal Screwjob Part 25, then no. I would much rather see a standard submission match between the two women. Out of the box, I would love to see something innovative.
Okay.
I don't want to see interference and overbooking to the extreme and something that doesn't even make any sense, like the Montreal Screwjob, which has already been forgotten about. Mm-hmm. So, yes and no, depending on what you mean by that.
I hope it's just a clean submission match at this point. I mean, when watching Payback and I saw that finish to that match,
yeah,
I got a big pit in my stomach. Because how many times are you gonna go back to that?
It's been 20 years.
It's kind of ridiculous at this point. So I'm just hoping that Charlotte retains cleanly, can move on to Sasha Banks. Where the hell is she? And that's all I want to see. Sasha Banks, Charlotte. That's all I want to see, unfortunately.
Hopefully at some point. What would you think of the idea of Eric Young joining up with the Revival and they use the Freebird rule similar to what the New Day do on the main roster? Would he bring a bit of madness to the tag team like Luke Harper does with the Wyatt family? I feel like the Revival are just fine by their own. They are a great old school tag team. I have no desire to see Eric Young with them whatsoever. Eric Young in WWE, cool for him. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's cool. But I don't really need to see him with a Revival.
Now, am I more excited about Eric Young being here than you are?
Are you?
I'm marked out.
Really? Wow. Yeah, I've never been a big EY guy. I thought it was cool. I thought it was like, oh, when I found out that he was in NXT, it was like, holy fuck. But I wasn't like, oh my god, like when Bobby Roode showed up. And that's just me, though. That's just me.
I don't know. I wanted to cry seeing him and Samoa Joe in a WWE ring.
That was a little cool. I will admit that.
I got goosebumps. No, I think the Revival are great in their own. Actually, they should. I would see them being called up, if not this year, next year, because I think they're great and they can definitely work on the main roster. But Eric Young, I'm not too sure what his relationship with WWE is, and the fact that I don't know if he's just going to be, putting guys over down in NXT. Yeah. I don't know if they have plans to bring him up in the near future.
I wouldn't say he's getting called up, no.
In which case, I would say, well, I can see the Revival being called up, so there's no point in just messing things up by putting Eric Young in there.
Exactly, yeah.
So kind of like how you had Carmelo with Enzo and Cass, and then you call Enzo and Cass up and there's no Carmelo. It's like, well,
kind of a disconnect there.
Yeah, so just keep Eric Young out of it. So because I want the Revival to come up and I want them to fight the Bullet Club and I want that to be a good match.
Agreed. Next question: would any female wrestler from any other wrestling promotion like Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, TNA, or on the independent scene be a good fit for WWE. I'm going to say Ivelisse from Lucha Underground, who was also Ivelisse in NXT. She was on the 5th season of Tough Enough 5 years ago. She was the short blonde girl. Remember her?
Yeah.
And she was one of the first... I think she had to go because of an injury. But she is ripping it up right now in Lucha. She is fucking amazing. And I cannot understand for the life of me why they let her go. There had to be some politics involved because she was great when she was in NXT and Tough Enough, whatever. And she's doing amazing now in Lucha. So she would be a great fit for WWE in the women's division. Other people, it'd be cool to see Awesome Kong back. I don't know what the chances of that happening are because I know she's got a terrible backstage attitude apparently. So that's not happening. Ring of Honor doesn't have many women. Maria, actually, you know what? Maria would be awesome.
Maria would do great.
Have you been watching TNA or no?
Yes, the first lady of professional.
Yes. Her and Mike Bennett are a great package.
I would love to see them in WWE together.
Yes.
Other names, I mean, I know she's already been in WWE. She had a cup of coffee there multiple times. But I just feel like Gail Kim has been so the greatest women's wrestler of our generation, and
I would, you know what? I would actually say that.
Yeah, sure, and and what'd she do with WWE? Like she had a love angle with Daniel Bryan.
Oh, God, don't remind me, please. She was there for a couple of years. And
I would love to see her come back and actually do something worthwhile.
Especially now that women's wrestling means something now. When she was brought back at it. She had she was there for a while, for a couple of years, and she left. Reignited her career in TNA. Came back to WWE. Oh, cool! They're finally going to do something with her this time around. Did nothing.
Unfortunately, she came back in the Kelly era.
Exactly. It was very bad timing. And then she left, and now she's repping it up again in TNA. Yeah. So I agree. Gail Kim would be great. Hopefully, if they use her right this time, third time's a charm. Hopefully. If TNA ever goes under, and they probably will soon, then maybe we could see her in WWE sooner rather than later.
Yes.
Any idea why WWE's pay-per-views are rated PG? Has this always been the case? And what is your opinion about that? Are pay-per-views from other wrestling promotions rated PG? I don't think they are. Are pay-per-views even rated anything? Because pay-per-views, you can do shit on pay-per-views that you can't do on TV.
You can't do on television because you have to buy them to purchase them.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they come with the PG rating.
Oh, do they?
They do.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because if you turn on a pay-per-view on the network from 2006, it will say PG-14 or TV-14, PG, PG whatever.
So it's not the pay-per-view, it's the product that's rated PG.
Yeah, yes and no. Because if we were to watch Extreme Rules together, I'm confident that a TV PG.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not saying. Well, at this point now you're making a good point that the pay-per-views are probably. I didn't know. I completely forgot. But pay-per-views are rated. They have ratings.
Yes.
But yeah, Extreme Rules. Now they're rated. The pay-per-views are rated PG. But would a pay-per-view, if we watched Vengeance 2001, would it be rated PG, or would it be?
No, that would have been TV-14.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So it's whatever the product is at that time.
I think that you have the range in the room to do whatever you would like to on pay-per-view that's outside of nudity and all that. But I think that the rating is just a promise from WWE on their part to say this content is PG. This is for a family audience.
But it's not the.
But they have. I'm sure there's contractual obligations with their sponsors and everything. Yeah. But I think they have the freedom to do what they would like to on pay-per-view because that's obviously different from television. The FCC regulates pay-per-view and television differently. Yeah. But I think that just WWE saying that this is a PG product is an assurance to the viewer.
You explained a lot better than I could have, so that makes a lot more sense. Mitch G. Should Serena have won the Women's or Divas Championship to give the Straight Edge Society more accolades? Any thoughts?
Yes. Oh my God.
She was a really good wrestler. I didn't know that at the time, but thinking back on it now, it's like, wow, they really wasted that chick. I mean, no pun intended, wasted Straight Edge, whatever. But they really did nothing with her.
The Straight Edge Society is one of the things
the biggest blunders.
I most regret hating for a shoot when I was younger. Obviously...
Well, we're more marks back then.
I know. But looking back, he was just pure genius. He was so good. It was so good. And I just watched, what culture they, Adam.
I haven't seen that yet. I saw the video.
He repackaged,
Straight Edge Society?
So it was amazing.
Was it? All of his videos were amazing.
They had Serena win the Women's Championship. Gallows win the Intercontinental Championship. Punk World Champion. It was great the way he had it. So, yes, Straight Edge Society should have had a little bit of a longer. It shouldn't have gone out the way it did.
They really fucked up the Straight Edge Society. That was a great gimmick and really unique too. You're never gonna see anything like that again. We haven't seen it before, and they really just messed it up. Ever since the Rhodes Scholars split up, I've been of the mindset that every prominent tag team should eventually hold the tag team titles. What are your thoughts? I mean, yes. I mean, like, if that's the case, like, the Rockers should have been tag team champions. I mean, yeah, I guess.
That's a bygone era, though, where championships didn't define a career. You know?
Yeah.
Where
not every tag team has to be tag team champions, but
I think in this championship heavy era, this championship happy era, your career is kind of almost like a blunder.
Yeah, when Miz is like a 20-time champion. Yeah,
but if you don't win championship gold, it's like, well, what a career he had.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think in this point where there's such a heavy emphasis on championships, and of course then they have the champions get beat on Monday Night Raw clean. Like,
yeah, whatever that means.
But there's such a heavy emphasis on, like, if your resume doesn't have championship gold, like, oh, great career. So in today's landscape, yes. But if you look back, like,
Jake the Snake,
Roddy Piper never held the WWE Championship. Should have been a WWE champion. Yeah. Was never a WWE champion. So that's back when things didn't championships didn't matter as much.
And we also had a big egotistical bastard on top that wouldn't give anyone a turn with the championship. A racist bastard on top, by the way. Just kidding. I love Hulk Hogan.
Love you, Hulk.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know if they should hold the tag team titles. I think it's more a matter that they will. Like, I feel like in this era, when everyone gets a trophy, everyone gets a title run. Yeah. I mean, look at I love the primetime players, and they deserved it. But it's like, you get a tag team title run, you get a tag team title run, the Usos get a tag. Everyone gets a tag team title run.
Surprised Los Matadores having.
Yeah, I was shocked they never won the belts. Honestly, I thought they were gonna win them at SummerSlam. We were there. I was like, no, I was getting ready to leave. I was getting ready to pack up my shit. Then New Day won. The whole place exploded.
That was awesome.
Anyway, so what would you think of a final match between the Club and the Usos at Extreme Rules, where the Club just destroys them and takes them off TV for a couple months, possibly turning heel when they return?
Other than turn the Usos heel, I would love to see that, because the Usos they're perennial baby faces now. They'll never be, because remember when they were heel for
no one cared.
A cup of coffee.
No one gave a shit.
So, if people are uninterested in them now, what can they do as heels to make people interested in them? Also, they're the only reason they're somewhat over is face paint and
the huge
and the crowd,
very family friendly, yeah.
And the crowd interactivity. You take that away, what are they?
Pluck it right back.
So I wouldn't foresee them turning heel at any point soon, ever, if ever. But I'd love to make the Club look like a dominant team they are. Have them break a few eggs to make an omelet, Well,
a few things. I think one, I've always agreed with that. I've always said the same thing. The Usos should never go back heel, because I feel like they are perennial baby faces. But they desperately need a makeover or a character overhaul or something. I don't know what that requires. If that means turning heel, then I'm all for it. Okay. And I feel like on their own, probably not. But if they're with Roman Reigns as a heel, and they're kind of like his hyenas, like they're his lapdogs or something, that'd be sick.
That's actually very cool.
That'd be sick. But the only thing I not even disagree with, I don't think it's possible. The Club attacks them and they turn them heel, or the Usos and the family. Oh, you said the Usos. I thought you said the family. I'm sorry. Yeah, if the Usos got taken off TV for a while, that'd be cool. I thought you were talking about the entire family. Like, Roman Reigns wouldn't be voluntarily taken off TV for like a couple months. No. But the Usos, I don't see why not. Is it ridiculous of me to hope that one of my favorite wrestlers will win the Royal Rumble if they're not prominently in the build? If they're not prominent in the build, i.e. Tyson Kidd in 2011, 2015, Hunico in 2012, and Tatsu in 2010 are my prime examples.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is especially ridiculous. I mean,
we all have that, though.
I know. I mean, I wanted to see Shawn Michaels win the Royal Rumble every year since I've been a fan, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's a little different. I'm trying to think of, like, okay, so I didn't even feel like Ryback in 2013 it would be, like, ridiculous, because that was, like, logic.
Happened.
Yeah, that should have
Bobby
happened.
Lashley in 2008.
It's still good. I'm trying to think of, like, he's putting, like, Tatsu in here and fucking Hunico. I'm trying to think, like, okay, if Zack Ryder, okay, if it's like, oh, I really wanted Zack Ryder. No, I'm not thinking that ridiculously, though. Like, okay, to say that, oh, I really wanted Ryder to win, like, the Royal Rumble this year, okay, that would be ridiculous of me, But if you're saying Lashley, like, that's a little bit more logical.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's if they're not, well, that's a tricky question, because they cannot be in the build, but still kind of come out of nowhere, but they have to be prominent stars.
Like Sheamus in 2012.
Yeah, they have to have some.
That's a little different.
Some kind of potential, but they don't. Like Daniel Bryan was in the build for the last, at least the 2015 Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
and he got eliminated so quickly.
Yeah.
So we all know how that turned out. So yeah, you don't have to be in the build as much as you have to have a snowball's chance in selling tickets at WrestleMania.
Exactly.
Yoshitatsu would not have. Hunako definitely would not have.
I would have paid to see that.
Yeah.
I would have paid to see that.
2012, Hunako Jericho? Or no, Hunako Punk? There you go.
Take my money, Vince.
Yeah, sure.
All right, next question also from Mitch. Has the Money in the Bank ladder match become more of a tame/safe or less exciting since 2013? I found myself incredibly bored in 2015's edition. This is a great time for this question. I was just watching this morning last year's Money in the Bank pay-per-view, like just the match itself, before we even asked this question. And you're right, I felt the same way this morning that I did a year ago. Then the match was good. But I don't think it's a matter of being more safe or tame or whatever. And I remember you and I talking about this too. The match has been around for 10 years. Yeah. It's not a matter of being safe. It's a matter of doing the same spots over and over. Because they did the same match every single year. And I feel like they've run out of spots to do and stuff like that. And last year's match, while it was good, it would have been an amazing... Like, that would have been like fucking match of the year 20 years ago. For like, it, would have been amazing compared to, Razor or Shawn or whatever. That was like the first ladder match that ever was held. But after what we've seen over the last 10 years and all the crazy shit that's happened, like the last truly great ladder match, we had a couple good ones in 2014. That one really good one for the briefcase where like Kingston almost won. In 2013 was amazing. We had the whole All-Star one. RVD came back when Sandow won. Those were great. And that, like you said, that was the last time that it really felt like insane. But people got hurt at the same time. Sheamus was out for like 6 months. Bryan got a concussion. Punk got pretty beat up. So maybe not so much.
My mindset with the whole Money in the Bank ladder match at this point is this. It's car crash entertainment. That's why we turned in. We want to see a car crash happen.
Demolition Derby.
Now, car crashes happen every single day.
Okay.
And people do not care. I mean, unless it's someone who's close to you who's been affected.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But, like, let's say I
don't give a shit.
let's say like my next door neighbor got in a car crash. You guys watching would not care. Let's say Barack Obama got in a car crash. Everyone would care. It's not the car crash, because car crashes happen all the time. It's who's in the car crash. So when you have these, guys that you're not invested in, emotionally, to see them win, it's like, oh, all right, that match was lame. But if you have 6 or 7 guys who anyone can win, and you would be satisfied because they've been booked so well, and they would look so great with the championship, and they would have such a great run with the championship, that's when you're saying like, oh, I didn't see anyone fall through a burning table with thumbtacks and AIDS on it, but but this guy won, and I'm really glad he won. It was a good match. So it's not what happens as much as who it's happening to and who comes out on top.
That's a great fucking point. Wow, that's really good, actually. Because last year's we had, Orton, Sheamus, Neville. Who fucking cares? I didn't care. I don't even remember who the rest of the participants were, because they were so forgettable. That's why the match was forgettable. Favorite submission match? The funny thing about this question is, and I gotta give you credit, I was thinking today, like, when was the last submission match that we had in WWE? So I typed into Google WWE submission matches, and guess what one of the links came up?
What's up?
Guess what it was? Sporkle. The website that you showed me, and it said type in all the submission matches, like the participants from like dating back to 1990. Yeah. And we actually had like 5 or 6 in 09, 2010, and 2011. So that website helped me out a lot. And I ended up getting like, I was like, I don't fucking know any of these. Ended up getting like 43 out of 45. I was so happy with myself, yeah. But anyway, one submission match. When I first saw the question, I'm like, when was the last time we had a submission match? I completely forgot about this one. This one I thought was great. Bryan, Miz, Morrison from 2012, or rather 2010, Hell in a Cell. A falls count anywhere, submissions count anywhere, triple threat match with the U.S. title. Great match. It was really, really underrated. I'm surprised they haven't done it since. It was also kind of taken from the concept of DX versus Legacy, a submissions count anywhere match with Breaking Point 09. Another really good match I probably would have said it had not been for this match. But easily my favorite submission match is Bryan, Miz, and Morrison. So any submission matches come to mind, John?
Unfortunately, I don't remember any. Like all I know is that they should have a prominent role, because the idea of it is so damn good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I off the top of my head at least, I can't remember.
There was Punk. It's kind of
not counting I Quit matches.
No, I Quit matches don't count. There's Punk and Taker from Breaking Point. That was the whole Montreal Screwjob finish, though. Breaking Point on that match I just mentioned between DX. There was like one between Kelly and like Brie Bella on Raw or something, which was stupid. But there was one between Angle, Cena, and Masters from Raw. Like
I do. Do you
remember that?
I didn't watch it, but I do.
You know what
I do remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have a good enough recollection of any of those to be able to say one was my favorite.
Yeah.
One was better than the other. I'll say this: I think that submission matches should be happening a lot more frequently in WWE.
And looking forward to the Natalya Charlotte one. I feel like with 2 submission specialists like those two, it's going to be a really good match. At Sean Markistic, thoughts on Adam Rose getting arrested, and you think he will be fired by WWE? Yes. He probably will be at this point. And it's so sad, too, because we talked about it a year ago this week when I was here over John's house to watch Raw, and we talked about it on Wrestle Rant Radio. We went on a huge rant. I'm sure that there's some clip about it here on YouTube, about how Adam Rose really should have meant more coming out of the ESPN special. Yeah. You watch that special, and you fast forward a year later, it's so sad. I mean, the guy's not doing anything on TV. He's a glorified loser. What purpose would they have to keep him around? Really, I mean, he got suspended. I mean, he had an excuse or whatever, and then this shit happens with the arrest and the domestic abuse. Like, it doesn't look good for the company at all. No. Like, what purpose do they have in keeping him around? It's not like he's a Randy Orton or is a John Cena or even a fucking, like, Dean Ambrose or someone like, upper mid. Like, no one cares about this guy. It's sad, but no one cares. So I feel like he is going to be arrested. It's really, he already is arrested. Only released. It's only a matter of time.
When I found out, as soon as I found out, my first thought was, he's gone. That's it. No more Adam Rose. Because, I mean, not only have you been suspended, it's one thing to be suspended and arrested during your career, but to be arrested while you're suspended, it just does not
domestic abuse of all things, too.
It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And unfortunately, like you said, he's not a big caliber star. There's no one, other than like his immediate family. There's no one begging for him to come back so we can see him wrestle for years to come. So unfortunately, I think this is the end of Adam Rose.
Sorry, Adam Rose. Push repackage release. Balor, Nakamura, Samoa Joe. I said this again.
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
No, you go first.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Push Nakamura, the guy's a star, as is Balor. But I would say repackage Balor just because turn him heel, switch up the character. Feels a little stagnant right now, so repackage him, push Nakamura, and I hate to say it, Joe, don't kill me, but release Joe.
The reason I asked to go first was because I saw this question last night. That was the exact thing.
The exact same thing you had?
I agree completely.
This is one of those questions, though, that you could do, like, it's hard, but it makes more sense. Like, the other one that we answered before, like, they're so interchangeable, there's no right or wrong answer. This one makes a little more sense.
Like, as good as Samoa Joe is, he's up there in years.
Yeah.
So it's understandable to say, like, all right, well, we got these 2 younger guys. We're going to get rid of Joe. Repackage Balor, make him a heel, and push Nakamura because he is a star.
Fucking star. Next question, will WWE ever sign Jay Lethal? Never say never. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised they were interested in signing him about a year or so ago, I think it was. Right after he won the ROH title. Like, oh, he finally had success, let's sign him. Like, that's always their mindset. But he would be great in WWE. Again, I would never say never just because they've signed people I never thought they would. Like, all the TNA guys, A
funny thing is, a year ago, if this question was asked, you and I would have both said no.
No, absolutely not.
He's got the indie darling scent on him.
Did you see the Edge and Christian show where they made fun of that?
What?
At the start of the show last week of Edge and Christian? Or did you watch the latest episode?
I did, but I don't remember that.
Did you watch the segment at the start of the Edge and Christian show where Christian was like dressed up as Vince and he goes, "Fuck you, that's why." And he's like making fun of that meme or something? Did you see that part?
I saw the episode. I don't remember that part.
It was at the start of the episode, and whatever. They were having this press conference, and in the crowd, they were supposed to be like media people, but everyone was dressed up like a bunch of, like,
I did not see this
you
episode.
Didn't see that?
Don't spoil it, then.
I'll just say this. Just in reference to this question, there were a bunch of people dressed up in the front row like they're supposed to be like media people asking Christian questions as Vince. But they were all like a bunch of like IWC members, and there's one that said like "I love the internet" or "I hate John Cena" or whatever. Another guy had like a Jay Lethal shirt on, and Christian's like, "You with the Indie Darling shirt and the guy that we're gonna sign someday, but we're never gonna do anything with." Like, it was really fun. They said that we're gonna give you a different name and then never utilize you to your full potential. That's so good. We'll watch it back later. Yeah.
But a year ago, you and I would have said like, "Oh, he's like an Indie Darling." Yeah. Just there's no way. But after everything that's happened in the past year, no one's safe from the WWE pen. Everyone's gonna get signed. Every wrestler's gonna be a WWE superstar one day.
Everybody.
But I like a year ago, I would have said no. Like, Jay Lethal, no way. But no, anything's possible. Anything. After seeing the people we've seen come through the door, Jay Lethal, come on in.
What a difference a year makes. Next question. You gotta say the name.
Should Elias Sampson?
No. Who is it from?
Oh my
Who's it from, John? I know I love you.
From Swags, yo.
Yeah, I love your username. It's so great. Should Elias Sampson become a manager?
I guess. I don't know. Like, Elias, like, I understand he has a very underwhelming character. He's just the emo Jeff Jarrett.
Very much, yeah.
But
homeless Jeff Jarrett, yeah.
Who's he gonna manage?
Exactly. Who fucking cares? Jeff Jarrett?
There's so many implications that should go into that question.
Just fire him.
Should Elias Sampson be a wrestler?
No, that's exactly it. I mean, I know Alex Riley wasn't doing anything, but I'd rather him stick around than fucking Elias Sampson. I don't know, that's just my 2 cents. Or Bull Dempsey or something. But next question also comes from
Swagvio.
Question says, will a U.S. title win for Rusev help get back on track? It's going to take a lot more than that to get him back on track. I think winning a belt that no one cares about right now is not the best way to get back on track. It's a step in the right direction. John says no. Why do you say no?
Because Rusev was ruined on March 30th, 2015.
Get the Cena shovel.
When John Cena beat him at WrestleMania 31. Dude, he was undefeated.
Came on a fucking tank. Came out in a tank.
And then he loses to Cena. And albeit that created the best segment of Monday Night Raw all year with the U.S. Open Challenge. But if your end goal, let's make Rusev a bona fide star, he's going to make me $1 million. That's not what you do. You don't have him lose to John Cena at WrestleMania 31, who beat Bray Wyatt the year before and definitely didn't need that win over Rusev.
Nope.
But I'd much rather have Cena, even if Cena did have to pick up the U.S. title, have him beat him at Extreme Rules or the Raw after. I mean, Rusev needed that Mania win.
Yeah, it hasn't been the same since.
No. And so, unfortunately, he's kind of like the Wyatt family for me right now, and just that there's nothing I could see from him that would really get me.
The Wyatt family are different
him.
just because I feel like the face turn is really going to revitalize Bray Wyatt. I think so. Rusev is a different story.
But babyface or heel, if you're losing, you're losing.
True. We'll see what happens when he comes back. But he was a star that one tag match they had before he got injured with like Roman Reigns. That was sick. But anyway, from at Cody Collier 37, would you like to see who would you like to see in the Money in the Bank ladder match this year and why? Who do I want to see in it? We've got a lot of questions in recent weeks who I want to see win it, not in it, which is great. I would say all the people, like you said, people that I legitimately care about. Don't put fucking like Ziggler in there. I mean, probably is going to be in there anyway. But I'm thinking like, who do I not care about that I feel like would be in it that you know is not going to win?
Mark Henry.
Like, people, don't waste spots in Kane and Big Show and Mark Henry. Put guys like Apollo Crews in there who might have a chance to win.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, I'd be fine with. Kevin Owens. AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, KO,
Either of the Bullet Club, Anderson and Gallows.
Yep, exactly. All those, that's like 7 people right there. You just booked the entire match. There's your question. Any other people?
I'm good. Cesaro, done.
Cesaro, too. At E13A, if there was ever a brand split again, would either of you want brand-specific pay-per-views too?
Well, that has to come as just by practice of the brand split. But I've said this time and time again, I don't think that we're ready for a brand split at this current juncture. Specifically because of the lack of depth. And it's with healthy guys, if everyone who is unhealthy is healthy now, there's still not enough depth
agreed.
To sustain a brand split. You got to look back to when they introduced a brand split. Entire NWO, Taker, Triple H, Rock, Austin,
it's like one brand right there.
I know,
too.
and that and plus countless others. That's when you do the brand split. Give me 5 main event heels right now.
Kevin Owens, Jericho, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho. There's not many.
There's none.
There's a lot of losers out there.
There's no main event level.
I give a shit about. Yeah.
Give me 5 mid card baby faces that could win the WWE Championship tomorrow.
Dolph, nope. Cesaro, nope, probably not Cesaro. Even Cesaro. Sami Zayn, maybe. Very few. Basically none.
There's no depth. No depth.
There
can't do a brand split.
Nope. Now, even if we did have a brand split, I never liked the idea of brand-specific pay-per-views. I mean, I think it was cool in the beginning, but like when you have pay-per-views like the one I just mentioned, Vengeance 06 was a little different. I'm trying to think of like a lot of the SmackDown shows, because that had like the lesser roster towards like 05, 06, and you had fucking No Mercy 06, 05, and it had like Matt Hardy versus Gregory Helms. Booker T versus Finlay. Like, they were really stretching those matches thin to the point where, like, it felt like an episode of SmackDown, like a 3-hour episode of SmackDown. So even if we did have a brand split and, like, it was super, and it worked, it was booked properly, even then, I would not want to see that. I would not want to see brand-specific pay-per-views. Like, what we do in SRR7 GM mode, where we have pay-per-views every couple months, is cool. But even then, like, if we were booking both shows, it's just, I don't know. I like the idea of less pay-per-views. Not the same amount of pay-per-views we have now, but one for one show. Like, that would never work. Imagine if we did that now. It would be like Zack Ryder versus Baron Corbin, second to last.
Main event.
Pretty much. Exactly.
Main event.
Exactly. Next question from at E13A. Who is one wrestler in NXT right now that you could see going further in the WWE main roster than expected? I think John said it before about the Revival.
Revival, definitely.
Anyone else? Maybe Austin Aries.
I was going to say Austin Aries.
Yeah.
No way.
I think people expect him to go far, but maybe not.
I don't know.
I think he could go far, though. Samoa Joe, too.
Samoa Joe. I don't know what the expectations for American Alpha are, but I think that they could be...
Yeah, I feel like people already know their stars, though.
They could be amazing.
They're going to be amazing, I think, when they get called up. What is one all-time classic match that you like, but don't ever feel the need to rewatch? That's a great question, and I don't have an obvious answer for it. Like, I'm trying to think of my favorite matches, and but I haven't seen that in a while, and I don't really care to.
Don't care. I'd say Cena Rock 1. Cena Rock 1.
Yeah, okay.
That's one of my favorite matches ever, and I don't know. I feel like once you've seen it, you've seen it. Whereas one of my favorite matches of all time, Cena Punk, February 2013 on Raw. I'd watch that match every day I could.
Yeah, good point. I think, I hadn't seen that match back since it happened 4 years ago, until last year. Then I watched it back, and I watched it back this year too. That's a good one. I'm trying to think of all-time classic. I don't know, Rock and Austin. I mean, I didn't really watch those matches back, or Hogan Andre. I guess not. I don't know. I didn't really like that match to begin with, so I don't know. That's a good question. I don't really have one match that comes to mind. Where does WrestleMania 32 rank between the bottom 16 and top 16 WrestleManias?
I mean,
we're not going to rank all of them, but do you think it's top 16 or bottom?
It's tough to say considering it just happened.
Yeah.
But I'd go bottom 16 as of right now. I'd say in the bottom 16, I'd see that there's 16 WrestleManias that are better.
I think I would say top 16, but at the bottom of that top 16. I feel like it was we already talked about the show before, on WrestleMania Radio. Check it out. But I think it'd be bottom of the top 16 because I feel like there's a lot of bad WrestleManias out there just because there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
But that you could fill that bottom 16 out in a flash with the first 10 WrestleManias for the most part. a lot of the middle ones.
25, 27,
20. Exactly. All those recent ones, the middle ones which was from 13 to 16 and all those.
Okay.
So I would say bottom.
I still hated WrestleMania 32.
Yeah.
So.
Understandably so. You had your rightful criticisms. Next question. What is one great pay-per-view go home, Raw or SmackDown? I have no idea.
I read this question last night, and the first one that came to my head, I don't know, it doesn't rank anywhere as my favorite or best, but it just came to my head immediately. I don't know why it sticks out to me so much. The go home SmackDown to WrestleMania 23. It ended with Batista and Undertaker in the ring. And security, had to divide them, and they were both running and jumping over security at each other. I mean, it was the first time I had seen anything like that in my time as a wrestling fan. I just remember it got me so excited for WrestleMania 23.
When Go Home SmackDown still meant something.
Go Home SmackDown. Go Home Friday Night SmackDown.
Okay, that's a good one. I don't know about an all around great episode of Raw before a pay-per-view, but the one that comes to mind, obviously, I'm biased because I love Punk and Cena. It's my favorite match of all time. But the Raw before that show, the contract signing between Punk, McMahon, and John Cena, and he's like, say goodbye to the WWE title, say goodbye to John Cena, say goodbye to CM Punk, that whole thing. Love that segment. I don't know about the rest of the show, but that whole final segment was amazing. It really got me hyped, even more hyped than I already was for that pay-per-view. At Big Bird 432, if you could show a non-wrestling fan one match to turn them into a fan, what would you choose? The ever popular question.
I'd say it's pretty easy for me anyway.
Oh, okay.
TLC 2, WrestleMania 17.
Well, okay, that's a great one actually.
WrestleMania X7, Edge, Christian, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, Tag Team Championships. I mean, that ranks on my all-time top 10 favorite matches. And I just know that if I showed that match to someone, they would have a hard time finding the non-reality in it because it's just so crazy. It's car crash crazy at a time when car crash crazy wasn't the norm. So I'd show him TLC 2.
So here's the thing with this question, because he's saying one match to show a non-wrestling fan to make them a fan, and I've talked about this before. I would show my friends from college, I would be watching a Hell in a Cell DVD, and they would love, Mick Foley versus The Undertaker, or the six-man Armageddon Hell in a Cell match. Oh, that's amazing, I want to watch more. And then last year when I was doing that, when I was watching Hell in a Cell DVD, and we watched the whole competition, all the matches from, 98 to 2005, And I was watching the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view with my roommate. He was like, where's the hardcore shit? Like, where's everything we just watched? I'm like, these are a bit tamer. Like, we've had a couple really good Hell in a Cell matches in recent years, but nothing compared to what we used to get like 10, 15 years ago. So the only issue with showing people matches from the past is that to turn them into a fan. So they'll watch Raw on Monday expecting to see the same shit that you showed them in that video or that match, and it's not going to be anything close to be like, oh, this sucks, I'm not going to watch, you know? So one match, I think I've answered this question before, but I think I said, and I'm going to say it now too, Michaels Taker from WrestleMania 25. It's not only a great wrestling match for wrestling purists to enjoy, but I feel like if you show them the video package, the whole, aura of WrestleMania alone, I think is very captivating. The match itself, the storytelling, the counters, the energy from the crowd, everything about that match. Don't show them the rest of WrestleMania 25, just the match. And, Punk and Cena too, just show them the video package, the story behind it. I feel like that whole thing is really easy to get behind. So matches like that.
Especially the Chicago crowd for Money in the Bank.
Exactly. Again, not something that you see every day, and you got to let them know that it's not really something to expect, nowadays. But I feel like those matches are more recent and more along the lines of what you would see on an average episode of Raw in 2016 than, showing them, even Batista Triple H from like 2005, the bloody Hell in a Cell match, because you're never going to see anything like that again, probably, or at least not anytime in the near future. That Vincent Elisar, who were the first 5 wrestlers that you would want on your roster in your own company. I just put 5 people off the top of my head.
Is this current or all time? Because I read this question last night and I was thinking all time.
Okay, how about you do all time and I'll do current?
Well, and I also wanted to structure this question. Maybe we could do like one main eventer, one tag team.
Ooh, I like that.
One diva, and then...
I like that a lot, actually.
Just so you don't pick, just 5 guys who could be a main eventer.
That's what I did. I did Rollins, Styles, Cena, Balor, and Lesnar. Because Balor's the feature, Lesnar's the money guy, Cena is wrestling pretty much right now. Styles is an all-around great worker, and Rollins is the kind of the combination of everyone I just mentioned. So, but I like that idea a lot more. We won't go like too in depth with it, but what would you do?
If I had one main eventer I'd obviously go babyface because that's where you make your money. Mm-hmm. I'd probably go AJ Styles as my main eventer. Tag team, I'd have, and this isn't all time, this is current.
Okay.
Tag team, I'd have Enzo and Cass.
Oh, okay. Good one.
Diva, I'd have Sasha Banks. And then mid-card guy, I'd have Kevin Owens.
I was just about to say, this one's easy. Yeah, he's a mid-card guy right now.
So that would be my first 5 draftees.
I like that a lot, actually. That's
Do you have any?
No, that's actually, I would go with the same. Yeah. Maybe not AJ. I'd probably go with Rollins.
Okay.
Either one's good. I think they're easily the best workers in the company right now, and that's going to be an amazing match. Hopefully we can see it at SummerSlam in 98 more days. No sleep till Brooklyn Part 2. Next question of his: how big is the chance? Speaking of whom, how big is the chance of Seth Rollins coming back and winning Money in the Bank this year? Not too likely. I heard he might be back June 6th, which would be before the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I don't really see I guess it'd be cool, but I guess the story's already there. He's got the rematch. Yeah. So why would you give him the briefcase? Give the briefcase like an Owens or like a Cruz, like I said, an Apollo Cruz, or someone along like a Dean Ambrose or a Sami Zayn or an AJ Styles even. Like, Rollins already has that ready-made story.
Rollins is already established.
It'd be kind of a waste.
Yeah. So
and he's already done that thing.
He doesn't need... As cool as it'd be to see a repeat Money in the Bank winner, when they don't really do that anymore. I think he like you said, he already has the ready-made story. It's already in the oven. Just has to take it out and eat it. But yeah, exactly. I'd say not very likely.
Agreed. At RJ_Marceau, if you had to repackage one superstar or diva, who would it be, why, and how?
Oh my. If I had to repackage one...
Keeping me on my toes, Mr. Marceau.
If I had to repackage Uno Dude, I guess I'm going to cop out and just say Rollins. In that, listen! What? Rollins,
RJ loves Rollins too, so he's going to love this answer.
Rollins being, like, I'd make him, because he's ready to be a babyface.
Oh.
So I'd repackage him into a baby face, a high-flying baby face.
Okay.
Who, he doesn't buck authority, but he's just, like, the free, like doesn't listen to it, whatever kind of guy.
Yeah.
And... why and how? Because
you already kind of explained that. Yeah.
Because I think he at this point in his career, he's done the heel thing for the last 2 years now.
Yep.
And when he comes back, and I've said this before, unless he attacks AJ Styles out of the gate, he's gonna have a hero's welcome to Monday Night Raw. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be very easy to have him be a babyface. So that's why I would do it, and how I would just have him pander to the crowd like all baby faces do.
That's a really, really smart answer. And not what you would traditionally expect. Yeah. So I was going to say, like, the easy answer, I put Dolph Ziggler.
But he's way beyond repackaging.
If you repackage him, I feel like people still won't care. I feel like when you say, like, the go-to answer, like, I go with what the easiest answer is pretty much. And you go with, like, Primo and Epico. Because they're shitty right now, so you repackage them. But the way the approach that you took, a creative approach to an answer that we already kind of knew the answer to with Rollins and kind of turning him face, but you are technically repackaging him, and there is a way to do that. That makes sense in turning him babyface. Fucking outshining me, Mr.
Stop it.
Jesus, Mr. Napolitano. His second question, this is obviously a joke question. What is next for Bray Wyatt? Now, John, so the running gag here, and RJ knows that I hate this question. And there's always at least one person, there's always one of you people, and I appreciate every single one of you, but there's always at least one person who sends in this fucking question. What is next for Bray Wyatt? I've been getting this question for the last 2 years now. Because we don't know what's next for Bray Wyatt, because I don't think the company even fucking cares. And I always give them the same answer, because I don't know what's next for Bray Wyatt. So do you have a real, logical, reasonable response to this?
No, I don't.
Exactly. That's why I hate this question.
You gotta just keep him babyface and give him a title. I don't know.
Exactly. What's next for Bray Wyatt? Rehab. Next question.
Oh no.
At the Wrestle Guy, do you think? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Injury rehab, not like drug rehab.
Drug rehab.
At the Wrestle Guy, do you think Rusev should win the U.S. title only for John Cena to win it when he returns? No. We just talked about this. So you're going to put the belt back on Rusev to get his career back on track, only to have him job out to John Cena, the same guy who he lost his momentum to a year and a half ago? That would just be the dumbest thing of all time. I can see them doing that, which is why I see them doing it. But no, that is not something I want to see at all.
It should not happen. It will not happen. I will not let it happen. But at this point, what does it matter? I mean, Rusev is already... So
a loser,
what are you gonna do? You're gonna make him even more. I don't think it should happen. In fact, I think John Cena should abstain from chasing the U.S. title. Even that's where everyone wants him to go. But I mean,
that's true. I would love to see. I'd much rather see if he's gonna go back after the U.S. title. Cena Kalisto.
Sure.
Then Cena Rusev again. Those matches were not.
What about
great.
Cena going after the IC title?
That'd be cool too. But I'm saying if it's after the U.S. title, it has to be Kalisto, just not Rusev. Okay. Anyone but Rusev.
Okay.
So his second question, I like this a lot. So as you guys know, we do push repackage release here on the show, and you guys kind of made that a thing. I don't know who started it, but someone started it, and it became a thing, and it was like amazing. We still get questions to this day, and we've been getting that for a while. And I would really like if you guys sent in more questions like this one. He's going to start one here at the Wrestle Guy, Nick. And I love this question. I like the format of the question. So if you like the push repackage release, send in questions like this. Keep in history and erase from history. You got to pick two of the options here. Keep or erase from history. Daniel Bryan winning at WrestleMania 30 or Rollins winning at WrestleMania 31. No better way to kick it off. John, I'll put the spotlight on you.
I mean, you know where my heart lies. If I had to erase one
two of your top 10 of all time, by the way, too.
It would have been Rollins getting erased from WrestleMania.
Said the same thing, yeah.
I mean, Daniel Bryan winning at WrestleMania 30 in the Superdome is just such a great moment. Such a passion affirming moment for me as a fan. That's the kind of stuff I love seeing. Whereas Rollins was exciting and crazy and unpredictable, but if I had to remember fondly, if I had to look back with fond memories of one, it'd be obviously Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30. So we'll keep that in history.
Agreed. Could not have said better. I said the same thing. Seth Rollins. Got to erase that one. Keep Daniel Bryan, especially considering the current circumstances. Next question. Book your fantasy Survivor Series team. I've done this before. I forgot what I said the first time. I hate doing this because there's 10 guys that you would have to do. I really, on paper, I don't have a fantasy, ready-made go-to dream team of, Survivor Series guys. So do you have an answer to this?
Can we do all time?
Yeah. Oh, no, that's what I think he means, yeah.
Book my fantasy Survivor Series team. All right, so you got to have the Brothers of Destruction on one team.
Okay.
And then opposite them would be the Steiners.
Okay.
Okay. So Rick and Scott Steiner. Then you gotta have the big Goliath guy leading the charge. So we'll go Hogan with the Steiners, and we'll go Austin with
Taker and Kane.
Brothers of Destruction. So then we have 2 more spots each. Then I'm gonna go Michaels with Austin. I'm going to go Flair with Hogan.
Okay.
And then one more spot. I'm going to go Rock with Austin. And I'm going to go...
Hogan?
I have Hogan already.
Oh, Savage?
I guess Savage, yeah. So essentially, I just did WCW versus WWE.
That's actually at least it makes sense.
Yeah, so
I like that.
But yeah, I mean, that would be. There's so many things.
There's so many things.
There's so many. That'd be one of the coolest matches you would see.
Yeah, I think my dream team. I think when I got asked this question a while ago, I think my dream team was along the lines of John Cena, Hulk Hogan, and The Rock, and like 2 other people versus CM Punk, The Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like the or something along those lines, like featuring like my favorites and like the all-time greatest icons and shit like that. Yeah. So anyway, next question comes from @BreakingBear216. Would Head Cheese get over in today's WWE? I wouldn't. Maybe. You know what? It was so stupid it got over in the Attitude Era. It probably would get over today too. Would be Steve Blackman and Al Snow. Do you think that gimmick would get over today?
I mean, maybe. Not this. This just reminds me of what Darren Young is doing now. With the whole Make Darren Young Great
With
again.
Bob Backlund?
Yeah.
How so?
It's just that stupid.
Oh, okay.
And that, I think
doesn't really feel current.
Well, sure. And I just feel like
I guess it does, you know what I mean, then, with the whole Donald Trump thing.
Even if you look at, like, the stupid antics backstage, like, with, like, R-Truth and Goldust. Like, you notice how those aren't really hitting as powerfully as they expect them to be. As the punchlines of jokes. I think that, as a fan base, we're kind of beyond the slapstick sophomore humor.
It depends what it is, because like Team Hell No worked, and it was so dumb, it was amazing, you know? And that was stupid, too.
But, like, R-Truth and Goldust, I understand why that...
Oh, those are 2 people no one cares about, too, at the same time, so...
It's tough.
Different.
It's tough. I'd say no, it wouldn't get over in today's WWE just because I'm saying no. I guess it would. I don't know.
Next question. How would you book Zayn and Owens this summer so that they do not meet one-on-one again until SummerSlam? So that's easy. We have the 4-way on Sunday, Money in the Bank, and there's really the only Battleground pay-per-view. So I would do... I would have Owens or... I mean, I guess Cesaro might win the IC title on Sunday. Do a triple threat or something at a Battleground.
Have Owens special guest referee.
Something like that. Or just do a brawl instead of a match. A la, like... We saw the same thing 2 years ago with Ambrose and Rollins. Exactly. They didn't have their first singles match until SummerSlam. So, no, but I agree. I feel like the feud should continue on until SummerSlam. You can blow it off over the briefcase or the IC title or something along those lines.
I agree. Yeah, hell yeah.
What would be a satisfactory finish for Cena losing an I Quit match that would still preserve his character? What, other than, using the old recorder, like, I quit. Like, that's really the only thing you can do when we've seen that
There's not a way you can do, like, shenanigans in an I Quit
without
match.
having him say I quit.
Unless, like, Rusev says it in, like Bulgarian or whatever.
Exactly. Unless, John Cena does know Chinese, so he gets, like, that'd be so dumb. We saw that a year ago with Rusev, like you said, so... Preserve his character.
That would kind of just ruin his character.
Exactly. Or I mean, it'd be cool just for him to hear, to hear him say I quit.
If you want to hear him say the never give up, if you want him to keep that character,
he's got to go heel.
Yeah.
For him to kind of give that up, and he's got to go heel and then say it, or be a hypocrite, whatever. Other than that, it wouldn't really work, or not make much sense. Is this much Roman Reigns hate necessary? I honestly think it's unwarranted, and people are just piling on now. Yeah, I mean, it depends what hate we're talking about here. Like, I have a right to boo Roman Reigns. I don't hate Roman Reigns. I really like Roman Reigns. I hate his booking and the whole the guy bullshit. But I'm not saying he should die or anything. Like, that's unnecessary, which people are getting to the point of. If they're booing him for no reason, like right now, I really have no objection to people booing him just because he's not being booked properly. Yeah. And he does not come off like a likable guy at all on TV.
Well, when the Roman Reigns heat initially started back at Rumble 2015, where Philly just massacred him.
Yep.
I didn't understand it as much as I wanted Daniel Bryan to win that night, but I'm not a fan of people going back and like conversing with creative and saying like this is what should have happened, like trying to rewrite history or whatever. It happened.
Can't change now. Yeah.
People did not think Roman Reigns was ready to win the WWE Championship, and at the time, it looked like that was going to happen with Brock Lesnar presumably leaving after WrestleMania and Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble. And Roman Reigns did not win the WWE Championship. They found a way to evade that, and so when people continued to boo him after that, that's when I felt it was unwarranted. I felt like, all right, so you didn't want him winning the WWE Championship, but he main evented WrestleMania in a good match, didn't win, and a great moment occurred out of it with Seth Rollins cashing in.
That wasn't necessary.
So why are you booing him now? There's no reason to boo him now. Since then, we've heard the Jack and the Beanstalk promo. We've heard with the Golden Goose and just that we've got the guy stuff, and it's just at this point, my biggest criticism of him is that he does not acknowledge the fact that he's being booed.
Yeah.
Because
at least John Cena does.
That is just so clearly a cop out. Like I'm sticking to the script right now.
Yeah.
Like I would just have so much more respect and appreciation for him if he would just acknowledge, other than say like I'm not a bad guy, I'm not a good guy.
Yeah.
Like just saying like, hey, whoa, what's going on here? Like what? Like I don't know, just like seeing more fleshed out, more realistic. Like not just I'm reading a freaking teleprompter. Like,
yeah. It just comes across as so scripted. I could not agree more. Best singles matches for these guys. Very extensive questions, so I'll run through here. Big Show, Kane, Ryback, Mark Henry, Del Rio, Sheamus, and Rusev. So you don't have to go through every single one. I'll just go through. I already wrote these down. You can just come through, go through with any ones that come to mind. For me, Big Show's best singles match, the match with Sheamus from 2012, Hell in a Cell. Great match. Kane, I couldn't tell you. There's not many great Kane matches. I put his ones with the Shane McMahon from 2003. All those are really good. Ryback, the match with Kalisto, honestly. You said singles matches. I would say TLC 2012 with the Shield, but you said singles, so I'm going to go Kalisto. That match was amazing. Randy or Mark Henry would be Randy Orton from Night of Champions 2011 when he won the World WWE Championship. Alberto Del Rio, any match in 2011 with Edge, John Cena, but I would say Christian from Extreme Rules. Or, that one too. SummerSlam 2013 or Extreme Rules 2011. And the 2013 when he won, so probably that one. Sheamus, the match with Bryan, 2 out of 3 count falls from Extreme Rules 2012. And then for Rusev, the match with John Cena from Fastlane. The WrestleMania match I didn't like as much. I thought the Fastlane match was better. So
I would just agree down the line. Unfortunately, I mean,
any other matches that come to mind or no that you might disagree with or?
No, I mean, unfortunately, these guys have had so few great matches. I mean, this is what sticks out in just about everyone's head as far as what were their greatest matches. So.
Yeah, like you said, I feel like all these were pretty easy for the most part because Kane has never had one great match. Honestly, like one great singles match, I could not tell you one great singles match he had. It's just not. I mean, love Kane, but still. That's Scarlet 1. How would John describe the previous era in just one sentence? So we have the new era. How would you describe the previous era?
Can we define the previous era, the PG era we're talking about? Correct.
Whatever the previous era was to you is basically what they're asking.
Whatever the previous era was. So we'll go from 2008. If we really want to define this new era, the one they're shoving down our throats, if we want to define this as a new era in pro wrestling, then that's fine. In my opinion, we're still like in the 08 BS bullshit. I would say in one sentence, part-time superstars are coming back and biting the WWE in the butt. And that the stars are not being produced like they were a time ago. And we need, I mean, SummerSlam. Take Brock Lesnar off it. Take The Undertaker off it.
Where's the star power?
There's none. So it's just right now. The unfortunate truth is that let me rephrase the sentence. WWE's ability to create stars has diminished. That's how I would describe it. I mean, you caught lightning in a bottle with CM Punk, caught lightning in a bottle with Daniel Bryan. Where are they now? Unfortunately, Daniel Bryan left because of his health. CM Punk left because of disagreement with WWE. And just a bunch of reasons why he left. But it's like you have these stars and then you lose them. And now call Brock Lesnar up, call The Rock up. Whereas, there was no, other than like Jake the Snake coming back in like 96.
Yeah, I was going to say, or Backlund too.
You can't really pick out a time in 99 where it's like, hey, call up Brutus Beefcake right now.
Or Hogan or something.
We need like so... It's just the WWE's ability to produce stars has diminished.
Not even in just the Attitude Era, just even in the Ruthless Aggression Era too, or even like in 06 or 07. They weren't doing that all the time.
Where's Kevin Nash?
Exactly. I think Jericho he came back full time, but the part-timer thing really started with, I would say, Rock.
Yeah.
Or even with Bret Hart wasn't a wrestler, but he was like the first real big comeback that made a difference. What do you two think about the various Gallows and Anderson versus Uso matches in the past month? I feel like doing it 3 times in the matter of a week was a little much. We probably are going to see another match tonight. We saw another match on SmackDown. Don't overdo a good thing. I was really excited about it 2 weeks ago on Raw. They killed it for me already because they overdid it. So what are your thoughts?
I thought they've been interesting. I think it's a good introductory program.
It's entertaining, yeah.
It's a good introductory program for Gallows and Anderson to come in. I'm glad they're not just like going through a gauntlet of tag teams or whatever every week for no reason. Yeah. I'm glad they've come in and they have a rivalry already. So I thought that was good booking their part. They are being a little overexposed. These matches are. If you want to show this on pay-per-view at some point, it's like, well, I've seen this for free 3 times. So.
Exactly.
But I mean, I've enjoyed them. Entertaining is a good word.
Yeah, I feel like it's been very chaotic as of late, which is, like you said, probably the highlight of Raw and SmackDown in recent weeks. Wrestling and non-wrestling content that John follows.
Oh, wow.
Want to get to know John Knapp, don't you?
Today. So as far as wrestling, I'm solely a WWE guy. That entails Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Nothing much outside of that. I do, now that I'm back home, I do have Pop, whereas I didn't have school, so I will be watching TNA. Well, I try and watch as much TNA as possible because I like supporting them.
Product's been better, a lot better, actually.
So
a lot better since they went to Pop.
And especially because at one point I was very in love with TNA. The idea of them going head-to-head with WWE in 2010 excited me. So I just try and support them as much as I can right now. Non-wrestling I follow, I'm a big Star Wars guy. I love Star Wars, everything Stars. If you ever want to talk Star Wars with me on Twitter, please feel free. Me and Graham were just talking about Captain America right before we started recording. Love Marvel. Seen every, all the new Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't read the books, the Harry Potter movies. I used to be big on those. I still am. Watch The Walking Dead all the time.
Baseball.
I love sports too. Big hockey guy.
There's a non-wrestling stuff you follow.
Oh yeah, sure. Baseball, hockey, football. So yeah, I mean, wrestling's my number one.
Wrestling's number one. Get to know John Knapp. Ask John here today. Next question. I've been finding the Vaudevillians New Day feud to be a pleasant treat so far. How about you guys? You know what? It hasn't been like, oh my god, this is amazing, but it's been a decent feud. I mean, the Vaudevillians have been growing on me ever since they showed up on the main roster than they ever were in NXT. Yeah.
Well, we said this in the beginning. It surprised me how well they're kind of doing. So
yeah.
Because I gave them no snowball chance in hell
Same.
that it was going to happen. And I mean, they've thus far put on a good feud.
They made it work.
If they can stay heel and stay entertaining, all power to them.
We'll see. We'll see how they do on Sunday in the WWE Tag Team title match. Anyone wish the Kalisto-Rusev feud has had more going for it than it currently does, or wish it had more going for it? Yeah, I mean, right now it just kind of feels very cookie cutter, like, oh, my tag team partner beat you, I want your title. Like, it feels very formulaic.
I mean, what do you expect? I mean, Rusev has just not been...
Yeah, look at who's involved. Exactly. Yeah. Kalisto had been directionless for a while, even as champion, and then Rusev's been fucking Rusev. I love Rusev, but the guy's been a loser for a long time. It's going to take a lot to rehab his image in WWE.
If you've got 2 spoiled pieces of meat, you can't make a casserole.
There you go. Exactly. That's a great comparison. You can't have a great match with 2 guys in... I mean, you can have a great match. Look at Kalisto Ryback Extreme Rules. It was a great match. Yeah. But you said feud. Yeah. The feud itself has been not bad. It's just kind of there. There's a lot more other things right now to get excited about. The women's feud has been really good. The IC title picture is on fire.
Sure.
Even the main event stuff has been really, really fun to watch. Yeah. And this kind of stuff is kind of going under the radar as a result. Next question. How familiar are both of you with Vince Russo and his recent rants on the current products?
Are these rants, does that go back to when he was calling Kevin Owens? Or
yes, Kevin and Sami Zayn and shit. Yeah, I think that's what they're talking about.
Vince Russo is a hack. I'll go on record in saying that.
He's a clown.
He likes... let me gather my thoughts. I get very emotional when it comes to this kind of stuff as far as Vince Russo and what he believes and how he does pro wrestling. That's not the way I think that pro wrestling should be done. The way that he thinks, and that's fine. It's cool to professionally disagree on things, but the fact that now that he is long out of the business and still making these outrageous comments, it's kind of like, well, if you can do better, go do it better. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel. And I all you have to do is go back to WCW 2000, see how great that turned out. So Vince Russo's kind of his rhetoric, his opinions, they don't carry much weight with me. But I mean, people enjoy him because he has shock value, which is, I guess, cool if you're trying to make money. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why don't you just go?
Why are people still talking about this?
Go do a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match and call it a day.
Because John's going to play good cop here. The guy's a piece of shit. Fuck him. I hate his opinions. I don't read any of his shit because I don't fucking care. I don't know how this guy's still relevant in 2016. Why people listen to his bull crap, it makes no sense to me. I mean, you're listening to my crap right now, but this guy just tries so hard to be relevant, and it's just pathetic. The guy, he makes some good points, and I know he's a decent person on the inside. He was a really good friend of Chyna's. He put out a great tribute video. I didn't watch it. I heard it was great. Good for him. But his rants on Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, the product being in the shitter. I can get that shit from any comment section, any wrestling website ever, where people just complaining about the product. I don't fucking care. Like you said, complaining is one thing. offering solutions on how to do it better that don't involve Viagra and a pole matches is another thing, you know? That's why I don't listen to his shit, because all of it is like, oh, Kevin Owens is fat, he's not going to be successful. Oh, where's like the positive side?
Yeah.
What he could do to...
I'm sure he wasn't saying about Dusty either. So.
Yeah, exactly. So fuck you, buddy. I hate Vince Russo. He's a fucking hack, like John said. Moving on. Next question. How do you feel about NXT NA?
Is that all the former TNA guys coming into NXT?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I feel like this should have been happening years ago. I can't believe that they're just now realizing that these guys can get over if given the WWE platform.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad they finally, pulled their heads out of there and realized that we know who these guys are. We think they're entertaining and fun to watch. So sign them, use them, create narratives with them. So I'm glad they're finally doing that. I'm glad to see Joe, Aries, Young, Rude all in WWE. It's about damn time.
Absolutely. I feel like I love the fact that the viewpoint, the perspective of these TNA guys that they'll never make money, they'll never be successful in WWE has finally changed. I mean, the whole view on indie guys changed years ago with Punk and Bryan. The view on TNA guys is totally something completely different. That if they're over in that organization, they're never going to be stars here in our organization. Christian does not count. R-Truth does not count. They were in WWE before they went to TNA. But guys like John said, NXT or TNA originals, pretty much. People that were there for a long time. Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Eric Young, Bobby Roode, all these other guys, Austin and Aries. They showed that they could be successful in WWE as well. And I'm finally glad that NXT has provided that platform for these guys to get over. Even AJ has kind of surpassed that and gone straight to the main roster as he should have. But I think it's great. I think a lot, even guys like Eric Young that I don't really care too much for, it's awesome to see him getting an opportunity because I never cared two shits about him in TNA. So it's cool to see. He was more relevant for me in one night in NXT than ever in TNA. Yep. And it's not, it's TNA, that means he's shit. No, it's the fact that he was utilized like shit in that company and he never went anywhere. They gave this guy a world championship when he was like their version of Santino Marella. Yeah. Exactly. Like, that's a joke. The guy's a good wrestler. I like Eric Young. I don't really care too much about him. I like him, but he's not world championship material. So, anyway. But I like the idea, though. Hopefully we get James Storm coming back pretty soon. And it won't be that soon because he signed like a 2-year contract with TNA. But get beer money in NXT or WWE or whatever. Rank the following. Christian's original 98 to 04 WWE run, TNA run, and 09 to 2014 return run. This is a great question because I was like, oh, that's easy. Oh, wait, no. I'm going to switch that one. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It was really hard. And my final answer was second WWE run first. And that might be controversial, but I feel like he had the best matches of his career, sans, like the TLC stuff, in his second stint with the organization. I know he spent a lot of that time on the shelf, but the stuff he did with ECW was great. The Orton stuff alone, I feel like, tops everything else from the previous 2 runs. The first WWE run I put on here because of the TLC stuff and the time that he spent on his own, especially towards the end with John Cena, was hilarious. Tyson Tomko, Jericho, Trish Stratus, all that stuff, being IC champion. That I felt like was awesome. TNA run was good, but again, winning a title, he never really felt like he won the big one until he came back to WWE. He won their world title like twice, but he never really felt like it meant anything. I mean, it was a good place for him to go away, kind of get away from the WWE system, reinvigorate his career, but I don't really watch TNA at that time, so I couldn't tell you, but I feel like the other 2 runs in WWE were better in getting his career back on track and in terms of memorable moments, great matches, and just having great reigns as champion, especially the second time around.
I'll preface it with saying I didn't watch Christian Cage in TNA during his, 05?
Yeah, 05, 06.
05, around then.
05 to 08, yeah.
Yeah, around then. I didn't watch him during that stint. So just ranking his second WWE run over his first WWE run, I'll counter what you said with he made a name for himself in his first WWE run.
Okay.
I mean, had he just debuted under the circumstances of his second run being his first run, it wouldn't have been as impactful, I want to say.
True.
But I just wanted to preface it with that. I mean, the TLC matches he had, the rivalries with Edge and Benoit, Jericho, all that, how he kind of made a name for himself. But I would say, I have to agree, just the program he did with Randy Orton alone in 2011 outranks everything he's done originally in WWE and TNA. Although I didn't watch him in TNA, but just Christian, his second WWE run all the way.
Absolutely, and I feel like even then too. I mean, you put in consideration when he did the second run, may not have been ultra successful like championship wise. But let's see here. He won 2 world titles. Yep. He won the ECW title twice. Really put ECW on the map at a time the brand meant fucking nothing. And he also put over the likes of Sheamus, John Cena this time around, Randy Orton, Jack Swagger, worked with Tommy Dreamer a little bit in recent years. Went out in a world title match at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, had a great match there, great showing there. So he's been hurt a lot, but he put over Cody Rhodes a couple times, had a great run as IC champion too. So I felt like his most recent run of the company was a lot more underrated than people might give it credit for. Final question. I feel like this has to be, definitely is the longest episode of #AskGSM ever. By the way, we just broke the record. Almost 2 hours. No better way to close it off than with this. How has 2016 been so far? John?
2016 has been shocking. I'll say if you look at WrestleMania, one of the most shocking WrestleManias of all time, the signees, AJ Styles, Austin Aries, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura, and
Gallows Anderson.
More to come. Gallows and Anderson. There's going to be more signees to come. It's been shocking. As far as substance, I'll say the substance is yet to be there for me. And that this time in 2015... I was over the roof about the year already. I was already like, 2015 is my favorite year.
Go back and check out the video from a year ago.
2015, I still to this day, favorite year as a professional wrestling fan. And I just think that 2016 has a lot to live up to in that sense. And they have the talent. They have the stage to do it on. Unfortunately, the injuries are still plaguing them. And it's tough to do it without, you spent all 2015 building Seth Rollins. We're 5 months into 2016. He's still not here. Mm-hmm. We're gonna go halfway through 2016 before he gets back. So it's tough with circumstances like that. I'll say it's been shocking, but as far as having substance or being substantive, not quite there yet. We'll see by SummerSlam if they've delivered.
Like you said, we're only 5 months in. We're only almost at the halfway mark. So ask us again in a month and a half. SummerSlam, we'll see again. But like John said, I was pretty adamant. Both of us were a year ago when we did this #AskGSM video that 2015 was our favorite year in wrestling. It still is to this day. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there haven't been many other years other than 2016. So we'll see. But, I know a month in, right before we went back to school, when we heard the rumors of... we recorded the video the day that Styles, the rumors broke. We recorded the video... you told the news to me during Raw. We recorded the video right before Raw. And we were talking about our expectations for the new year and whatever. But a month later, I was saying, 2016 might surpass 2015 if everything keeps on going the way it is. With Nakamura coming in, AJ debuting alone was amazing for us, especially being huge AJ fans. And having met him too, you talked to him twice.
Sure.
But we'll see. I feel like it's been a fun year so far. Like John said, it's been shocking with all the signees. The last couple weeks of this, we'll see how the new era pans out. We'll see how it works out. But I feel like so far, the new focus on fresh faces, obviously injuries don't help, but guys like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, the return of Maurice, even stuff like that has been pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. It's been a pretty good year. WrestleMania was interesting. The first two pay-per-views, the Rumble was great. Fastlane was what it was. Payback was pretty enjoyable as well. Yeah. We'll see what happens on Sunday at Extreme Rules, but so far so good. There's a lot to live up to in terms of surpassing 2015, but I feel like it has a chance.
We'll see.
It certainly has a fighting chance.
It's got a big challenge ahead of it.
Big challenge. And you guys can, stick with us throughout the summer of 2016 as we'll be hanging out multiple times in the next couple months on the road to SummerSlam 2016. No Sleep Till Brooklyn Part 2. I'm sure we'll do another one of these videos next month or in July, August, whatever. Tomorrow. You can ask us again in the next couple months about what our thoughts have been on 2016. Hopefully, it's only been better. It's only going to get better as, time progresses. So, that is it. Almost 2 hours. And let me check the clock here. Almost an hour and 53 minutes. That is insane. Easily, undoubtedly the longest episode of #AskGSM ever. If you're sitting through all 2 hours of this, I love you. I want to marry you. Like, how are you managed to sit through 2 hours of this?
I would have killed myself. I'd be so bored.
Oh my god, and just insane. You guys are incredible. Even if you watch the full 2 hours, 2 minutes, 2 seconds for your own question, just stuff like that, appreciate it. I appreciate every single view. Like, comment, everything. You guys are great. Subscription. So be sure to stick with that. Check back every Monday for new episodes. Next week, we're back by myself, unfortunately. Flying solo, but it's great to have John here today to do these episodes, and it's been great. So like I said, you'll see more of John in the weeks to come. I know we haven't seen him since January, but we'll see him hopefully next month and the month after, or whatever, as the summer of 2016 unfolds. So John, before we go off, where can the people find you, brother?
Guys, you guys can find me at JNAPS Ring Wrap on Twitter. That's JNAPSRINGWRAP. All right, that's the Twitter. And of course, I've always got articles coming on nextEraWrestling.net for this guy right here. And I hope you all have a great Monday. Monday Night Raw is coming up, but before we get to that, Graham, you do the plugs.
Do the plugs, of course. So like I said, you guys can check out nextairwrestling.net, as John said, for his articles and many more articles as well. At WrestleRant on the Twitter, Facebook.com/Graham.Jason.Matthews. All the links are down below in the description box. Be sure to subscribe for new episodes every Monday and all the other content on here on the channel throughout the week. And hopefully John will be joining us for WrestleRant Radio tomorrow.
Of course.
So of course, in that case, check out the clips here on the channel that go up on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, whatever. And you'll be seeing a lot more John as the summer of 2016 gets underway, kicks off.
Let's do it.
It's going to be explosive. So, guys, enjoy Raw tonight. I'm Graham Jason Matthews for John Knapp, and we will catch you guys down the road. Too sweet.